always listen. Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started. It's time to get things started. On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
First News with Keeler in the Morning on WIBX.
Well, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Nothing like coming out first time of the season, at least for us here in the Valley, and looking out to the car, and it's actually covered with a dusting. Now, John in Bridgewater will say, I've already had that dusting. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's been frosty.
It's been that way. I've been telling you.
I keep forgetting.
But for us, though, down here in the Valley, this is the first time.
I keep forgetting that I have a remote car starter, which was discovered accidentally by my girlfriend, thank God, last year. So I get out there, and I'm freezing my behind off, and I could have started the car a half hour ago. Or 20 minutes ago. I don't want anybody to get on my case here.
I'm going to be putting my car in the garage.
Nice.
Which keeps a nice steady temperature.
Yeah, minimum 50 degrees.
And so, and the other part of that is no, I swear to God, we have a garage for what reason? Well, you have a garage to put all the garbage in that you don't want to put in your house.
Exactly.
All that stuff you've accumulated.
Accumulation of stuff, yes.
Not in the wintertime. You have a garage in the winter to prevent, to make it easy to get out first thing in the morning.
That's why my house, when I bought it, it had a slab. I'm like, great, because then I won't have a basement to accumulate junk.
Let's see. Hold on. I have a little something, already an important message. Mike asking this morning, do you have Bob's number? I have a clogged sink, and I figure since he solved Katrina, he probably could get this one fixed.
That's awesome.
Let's see here.
Call Bob. I can't believe Election Day is less than a week away now.
Election Day is Tuesday, and of course the final few days of early voting, today, tomorrow, and Saturday, Sunday, and that'll be your early voting. We have a busy program, a lot to get to here today, here on the 2nd of November. Coming up, we'll talk a little bit about they were trying to get rid of Congressman Santos.
Yes.
Republicans.
A few people.
A few. And that did not work out, right? He will linger on.
Yes, they came up short.
With their vote. We'll talk about the labor law surrounding Remington this morning and those former employees who were set for a severance package as part of their contract. They were looking at some of them 20 plus, like $1,000 a year. So if you were there 22 years, you get $22,000.
Nah.
And that's not happening.
Yeah.
What's the legalities? What are the legalities around it? We'll get to it. Mohawk Valley Crime Stoppers Wanted Person of the Week, UPD. We'll get to that this morning. He's running for re-election. Tim Julian. His opponent is the rather familiar Jim Zecca.
Yes.
And we'll speak with Tim Julian later on this morning. Rabbi Diddy Walks on the continued conflict in the Middle East and anti-Semitism. And what is it called? Islamophobia as well. But obviously he, as a rabbi, will be speaking from the standpoint of anti-Semitism. Sheriff Rob Machel is in this morning. The corrections exam cutoff is tomorrow. So we'll talk about that. John Decker is on as well. A big, busy morning to come here. And Andrew back in this morning. That's a good morning.
Thank you for having me.
And I don't want to just vent too much, but What is it with the people doing the commercials that are not adding the disclaimer on the end of the commercials?
Yeah, I've never heard a commercial
found
not.
Another one.
Yeah.
So we have to pull the spots when
It's
that
not
happens.
her spot, it's his spot.
That one doesn't have a disclaimer.
I guess not.
So the disclaimer is paid for by friends of such and such. It's by law that it has to be included in the commercial. And all of these commercials keep getting submitted. That's why you got to listen. You got to pay to have services done by professionals. That's
so what's
all I'm
happening?
saying.
They're recording it like in their homes and sending them
well,
in? Or?
It doesn't matter. You could record it in your home and still have the put the disclaimer on. But every political commercial, you must be informed either and it can be at the beginning. It's almost always at the end, but it can be at the beginning.
Yeah, I've heard that before, where it kind of kicks off with
Paid
that.
for by friends of Andrew Derminio.
I'm here to help you. Call Andrew.
And normally it happens at the end of the spot, but stations all around are running these commercials without the disclaimer. I don't get it.
That's no good.
So not here, though. We're rejecting them left and right.
Swatting them down.
Swatting them down. It's got to be there. It's the law. Let's see. What else did I want to get to? Davey last night. Let's do a little. Davey last night was at the JMA Wireless Dome. I learned something. We've been speaking to Greeley Ford about, I believe it's
Good man.
It's 5G that they're going to have at the JMA Wireless Dome. It was supposed to be all part of, you're not going to believe how fast this internet is inside the dome. And I've been there several times, Davey. How fast is it?
Slow.
It's not fast at all.
Not until mid-November, they said.
So that's what we have now learned. It has not been installed. It's being installed, and it will not be ready for the start of the opening of the season. But you're saying mid-November is when it'll be. So we were at a Paul McCartney show, and trying to send out some photos. You couldn't get anything out of there.
Well, of course, you need everything like to be cashless, and I have my stuff on my phone, so.
Well, that should still work.
Yeah.
But if you're trying
That'll
to get
work
if you're trying to get right, believe me, they'll find a way to get your payment. But if you're trying to get a photo out or something, the problem is you have 50,000 other people doing it at the same time. So this will correct that problem. They're supposed to have lightning fast internet. But right now it's not there. And we're now learning that it'll be coming, but it's not there yet. Are you tapping in there, Davey?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it like at the Dome last night? Obviously, this
Very
is
dead.
It's an exhibition, to be fair. And there were a few things that occurred last night. Obviously, they handled College of St. Rose.
I would hope so.
Quite well.
Yeah.
Right?
86-61.
But I think there was a suspension, right? Is it Benny Williams?
Yeah, Benny Williams.
So
violated the team rules from what they said out
What are
there.
you hearing?
Quote unquote.
I'm hearing that he went to a party.
Okay.
And
all right.
Yeah, had a little fun.
Little drinking, little smoking?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I also found out how come they're saying that it's going to be the biggest football crowd this weekend besides the Clemson game, as Andrew was saying in his news yesterday. It's homecoming weekend.
Oh, okay. So they'll have a lot of people.
And alumni and families are coming in.
Got it.
And they're also honoring Dwight Freeney at half.
Well, it's still it's still big that it's going to be a big crowd.
You're going to go to the game?
Yes.
It would be nice to see. And by the way, that's a Friday night game. It would be nice to see
tomorrow
them
night, 7:30, ESPN 2.
Actually perform. That would be kind of nice.
That's why
up to this point there has been very little performance out of Syracuse.
Well, that's why Smitty was so upset, because waiting for that shuttle back to Skytop is never fun. Especially in the cold up there.
And by the way, after this little spell of snow and colder weather, we're going to move into the 50s today, upper 50s. Today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday look fairly mild, at least into the 50s, and probably creeping up at some point near 60 degrees. So a little spell of some mild weather is on the way. If you're okay with that, I think I am.
Yeah, light jacket as opposed to the winter coat.
Let's see. What else do we have here this morning? All of the photos still continue to come in. The videos still coming in from Gaza Strip. It is terrible, and you see it more and more. That kid at Cornell University, we're now finding out that he's being charged with threatening to kill Jewish students and Jews on campus. And a couple of the places he had threatened to shoot up, we now know that he actually was at those. Is that what the story is? He was at those locations.
Yeah, he had visited the locations.
A couple of those locations. So you wonder why and to scope it out. Is that what was going on here?
Yeah, I mean that's the claim anyway, the allegation.
Yeah. I don't know if you've been following this at all, but we talked about it yesterday. Tom Nitty has advanced once again in The Voice.
He's Team Reba, right?
He's on the Reba McEntire team. He sang and played a guitar on a cover of Cody Johnson's Till You Can't. Are you familiar with that song?
I have not heard it.
With the battle partner Dylan Carter singing a duet with him Tuesday night, once again earning the kudos of the judges. Gwen Stefani, John Legend, Niall Horan. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, nah, he sings Slow Hands. That's all I know.
Country? Is
no,
he a
he's
country
like
artist?
a modern pop, right?
Oh,
Would you
okay.
call-
I don't know who he
Smitty's
is.
gone. He just
And of course his coach Reba McEntire, and of course Tom Nitty is a state trooper here,
that's right.
and he's really really good. So certainly congratulations, Old Wicker Mill.
I
we
heard
haven't-
this.
We have not talked about this, but Laura from the Old Wicker Mill has passed away. I'm sure you've heard about it, but it's something we have not talked about as of yet. I believe, I don't want to say something I've heard and it isn't out, but do they know was it cancer?
I heard it was a very quick, unexpected, a quick time from the diagnosis, unfortunately, to the end.
She opened the Old Wicker Mill in 1979 on Kellogg Road in Washington Mills. Started by selling wicker baskets, i.e. the name Old Wicker Mill. Accessories, furniture, and decorations. Began slowly expanding the items she carried, with now more than 200 employees represented at the store. But she has passed away at the really young age of 66 years old.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Let's see. What else here this morning? The Texas Rangers won the World Series for the first time in their existence. Wow. Was this World Series a dud?
Yeah, seriously. And George W. Bush hasn't been this happy since, 2004?
I've been to that stadium. It's really cool, and that was probably 20 years ago. Texas Rangers won the World Series for the first time in their existence. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5. So 4-1, 4 games to 1. Wow. Here is, I'll play it. You might be hearing it for the first time because it seems nobody watched the World Series.
Right.
Here is the final call from last night.
In their 63rd season. It's happened! The Texas Rangers win the World Series!
Well, there you go. Now, they played the game. The game actually was played in Arizona. But there were a lot of Texas Rangers fans there because they do their spring training
right there.
In Arizona.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of fans of the Texas Rangers who are there. Oh, he's jogging his way in.
He's ran in.
We knew somebody was at the door.
He was so happy
Anyway,
Texas has won it.
In Game 5, 4-1, 4 games to 1 was the...
He just got off the plane from Arizona.
Was the final, as we have somebody in studio here this morning. See if I can get him on. There he is.
Hey!
Now your mic's on.
Good morning. You missed me, huh?
What
I did.
is
I haven't
going
seen you in a while.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I mean, every time I'm here, you're not.
You're right. You've filled in a few times when I've been. It's been an awful year.
It's crazy.
This is the worst year I can remember in a long time. I mean, COVID was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've just had more mishap after mishap that we've had to deal with.
Can't wait till it's over.
Can't
I know.
wait for
Two
New
more
Year's.
months.
New Year's. I can't wait for it.
2 more months.
You know, you're
And I'm
just
going to
talking
knock
about.
on wood because you don't want to complain. You don't want to complain.
Right. What about 2024?
Right? It could be worse. It could be worse. Maybe I'm just getting older and I'm breaking down.
Yeah.
That's possible.
This was a year of a lot of, you know, I don't want to get morbid, but I know you were just talking about Laura from the Wicker Mill.
I cannot believe the number of people as I look back who have prematurely passed away.
Yeah. Bad year for that.
You know, it's funny. Tim Reed and I have talked about what the effects of COVID would have on cancer. Now, you being a cancer survivor as well.
Yeah.
And I fear that during COVID, they became more shut in.
They didn't get checkups.
And by the way, we were required to be shut in.
Yeah.
Right.
All of those elective procedures, all of those elective tests, all those things you can do to check to see if you have cancer, all that stuff went by the wayside. Because God forbid you didn't want to get COVID.
Yeah.
Right? So while that's going on, it almost was a 2-year span where people were not getting their colonoscopies. They were not getting their breast cancer checks and et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, is that, you know, while it's just me thinking about it, anecdotal, is that the reason?
You know, it's crazy because my test was 2 years prior, just before COVID. I didn't have a test again until last year when they found it, you know, the tumor. So, I mean, yeah, it could have something to do with it. It's not coincidental.
I just think
don't
if you're not, if all of a sudden testing goes down by 30% or 50% or even worse than that, you're going to see an effect for that. It's just going to happen.
I believe it.
Why are you here, Joe? Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Well, I was in the gym this morning, and
you came running in at 6 o'clock in the morning.
well, you know what? That's what
pretty good.
happens when you're up at 4 and you get to the gym. You wake
Yeah.
up early. You know, I did try this great recipe though last night. I got to tell you, I woke up this morning smelling like fall in the house because I took chicken breast.
Okay.
And I stole this off of a friend of mine, Cassandra. She had
Chicken
this on-
breast, by the way, can be, you know, one of those dishes where, you know, it can be very dry. It can be. You really have to work with chicken breast.
Yeah,
Oh, no. This is an easy,
Okay.
no-brainer, chicken breast, juicy, all
Crock
the time. Crock pot.
Bingo.
So,
Never heard of that.
it never
I
what?
thought about it the other day.
Chicken
couldn't
in
we-
the crock
Why
pot?
couldn't you put chicken in the
yeah.
crock pot?
Yeah, well, that's how you get pulled chicken for, like, your buffalo
Okay.
chicken. You could do
Yeah.
that, you know.
Okay, didn't know.
So, this recipe calls for
do you
3
use chicken breast
Yeah.
for pulled chicken?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it pulls right apart. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Okay.
This calls for 3 chicken breasts, but I did 6, so I doubled it because
Course
I
you
want
did.
to meal prep for the week. So
Yeah, yeah.
I did 3 chicken breasts, a half a cup of cider, so I did a full cup of cider. And then it takes the sugar-free barbecue sauce. You ever see that guy in the store? This is the barbecue sauce. I know everybody goes for that Sweet Baby Ray's, but this guy's got sugar-free barbecue sauce,
okay.
and it's really good for you.
okay.
'Cause
What
you-
does it have? A stevia in it or something like that?
Maybe, probably. And,
Yeah.
and you know what I did find, not to get off topic, Truvia brown sugar.
We have that.
Bill, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Tastes like brown sugar.
Sounds
Yeah.
like brown sugar.
But it's
I do
Truvia.
find that any of those, and they're not artificial sweeteners; they're natural
Truvia.
alternatives. They're very sweet.
Yes.
A little bit goes a long way.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need as much.
So what do? You put it. So
So I put the chicken breast in the crock
cider-
pot. Cider, barbecue sauce, cut up an apple, cut up an onion, a little. It said garlic and thyme. I skipped that because to me, garlic is Italian. It's
You
not
have
fall.
no time for that.
I don't have
Okay.
time for time. And then you cook it for 6 hours. So I put it on for 8, and
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
overnight. And I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock with the aroma of something beautiful in my house.
So it was already you cooked it overnight.
It's ready to go, Bill. You want to come over?
Could you send me that recipe?
Yes, absolutely.
I tried that.
It is so good. I really I am
hungry
thankful
now.
for her.
Well, it's got you up and rolling.
It's got me going somewhere.
Yeah. And that is the problem with chicken breast, right? It can be kind of tough. You always want to have a sauce with it or something with it,
Just to
because
moisten it up, unless you're
yeah.
pounding it. If you're pounding your chicken,
That's different.
Before
that's
it'll
very different.
tenderize it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
You do
All
have
right.
a mallet in the kitchen.
Do you mind? Do you mind hanging? Because I
No,
got
I'll
a break,
hang
and
for a little
we'll,
bit.
and
Oh
we'll
yeah,
come back.
sorry, I got long-winded.
Hold on at 6:38. It is a little. As Andrew said, you might want to plan for warming up the car this morning because a little dusting of snow not just in the hills, but all over in the valley, everywhere. In fact, at one point yesterday, in the village of New Hartford, it was snowing so hard it was snowing like sideways. Now, I'm sure it wasn't just in New Hartford. It just so happened to be that's where I was at the time, in the village. And that snow, it was like a whiteout. It wasn't like a whiteout. It was a whiteout. Maybe the first whiteout of the season. I don't know. Hold on. 638 WIBX.
This election, vote Mayor Jackie Izzo for her years of experience in business, economic development victories, and management, resulting in no tax increase for 7 straight years. Or vote for someone with absolutely no business or management experience just for the sake of change. Will Jeff Flanagan be able to handle the millions of dollars in active projects that Jackie's managing right now? This is critical and the wrong time to gamble on Rome's future. On Election Day, vote Row C. Re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work with your vote.
Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
Hello, I'm Courtney Muhammad, write-in candidate for mayor of Utica, another choice for mayor. I was born and raised in Utica, New York, have worked behind the scenes for many years on positive and successful programs. I'm a retired chaplain from the New York State Department of Corrections and hold a degree in business public management from SUNY IT. My combination of experience working in the inner city, along with my clergy and business background, has uniquely prepared me to be sensitive to the growing and challenging needs of our ever-changing city. Let's continue the rebuilding, restoring, and revival of a new Utica that we all can be proud of. I'm asking for your support. Write in Courtney Muhammad for mayor, and together let's change the world. Changing the world starts with you, Utica. Find me at healutica.com.
Paid for by friends of Courtney Muhammad for mayor.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
I'm Jim Zecca. There was ever a time for South Utica residents to vote for someone who will protect our neighborhoods. It's now. What happens to St. E's affects us all. Politicians like my opponent propose ideas like borrowing $10 million to tear it down, or the idea that St. E's is the perfect place to house the homeless or newly arriving illegal migrants. That's wrong. Send a message that residents want involvement in the final decision by voting for me, Jim Zecca, for Oneida County Legislator.
At Simply Safe, our award-winning home security has advanced sensors, HD cameras, and now this 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from Simply Safe. Monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Now get 50% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
I'm Stephanie Vaselli. For the last 25 years, I have worked relentlessly to help those in need and to ensure that victims' rights are protected. As your next Rome City Court judge, I'll bring that same energy and work ethic to our local courtroom. I was born and raised in Rome and raised my kids here. I love our community, and I have a lifelong commitment to making it a better place. I would be honored to earn your vote.
Vote Stephanie Vaselli for Rome City Court Judge.
Your week in local news happens here. First News with Keeler in the Morning on WIBX.
All right, what is going on? Did that one have...
That one did not have the disclaimer.
You got to pull them all.
Cut it.
We can't air these commercials.
So that's a law thing, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's all right.
It has to say paid for.
Zecca's commercial Is it his check or her
Her
check?
check.
Her check.
It's her check. Her check's commercial doesn't have it. Vaseli's doesn't have it. That's got to be pulled. Who is managing these campaigns? I'd like to know.
Well, clearly people who have never managed campaigns
Well, you
before.
only have to do the disclaimer on television. No,
No.
it has to be on radio, too. You know what they're doing is they're putting a graphic up for the TV, and they're giving us the audio of the TV spot.
Right, so the graphic probably says paid for by the...
But there's no graphic on TV.
Not on radio.
No,
All
I
right.
saw it. I saw it on the radio.
I saw it.
Can't you throw it on YouTube?
Okay, Vaseli,
his
commercial's got to be
check.
pulled.
And Zecca.
Zecca's commercial has to be pulled. Jim, you got to call in. You got a problem here.
Call Bob.
Listen. Bob corrected his. There was a commercial that Bob had yesterday. He corrected that
corrected it,
yesterday.
yeah.
I thought that was the
Well,
only
I'm saying
one.
you can call Bob to
But
fix
we've
these
got-
other ones.
We have 5 commercials right now they're trying to run without running the disclaimer.
Yeah, that's not good.
Do you know that it has to be like in a 30-second TV spot, the disclaimer must be up. It has to be, I don't know, like 10% of the screen size. So at least I believe at least the 14 font. It's got to be at least 14
Really?
points. And it's normally played at the end or in the beginning. It has to be predominant. It has to be prominent, I should say, so that you can read it to explain who paid for the commercial.
Who can pay for it? Can anybody pay for it?
It is usually it's usually a committee. Now you can pay for your own.
Right. Okay.
But you gotta report who paid for the commercial.
Right.
That's
Is
election
that
law.
it's like tax thing, right? They want to know who's paying.
No. I
Paid
don't know
for
about
by
the
the guy who doesn't want to know his name.
I don't think it's taxes.
Yeah.
It's campaign finance.
Paid for by me.
So, all right. So we have what commercial pulled?
We have
Vaseli.
Vaseli.
Are you sure?
Her check.
Yeah,
and Zecca.
it didn't
I
say
didn't hear
that
it.
then.
But your theory on it is, I think, correct.
It might be they're sending us the audio of the TV spot, and the
Yeah.
TV spot you don't have to voice it.
It just has to
although in congressional commercials, there are requirements that the actual candidate has to do it. It used to be the candidate had to do it. No longer is that the case.
Oh.
And now on TV, on a regular commercial, you could just have the letters or you could write it in a graphic. So and then her check.
Yes.
There may be more.
Yeah, we'll find out throughout the morning.
I cannot believe this.
This is great.
We will find out.
All right.
Drama during the election.
What are you plugging here today? Anything, Joe? This is completely distracted me.
I don't,
can't believe it.
I really don't have anything going on. I mean, it's kind of a quiet weekend. Coming up in a week. I mean, the month is over for car
You don't
sales, so
have
now it's a new month started
Any
yesterday.
fundraisers or anything like that you're doing?
Nothing. I
Okay.
got,
All
nothing
right.
going on this weekend. It was a busy weekend last weekend. You know,
It
they had the
was.
trunk or treat. That's have you ever been to one of them? This is like the new
Yeah,
thing,
so-
this trunk or treat thing.
It is pulling back on a lot of the number of people that come to your house on Halloween.
Which we were disappointed about.
Or you have many double dippers.
I don't get anybody at my house.
Well,
Yeah.
you're kind of off,
On a
off
dead
the beaten
end,
path.
yeah.
you
We
know?
had a busy Halloween this year.
You have a good neighborhood there.
So if
There's a
you
lot
think
of-
about it, this trunk or treat thing, it's kind of, reverting back to what the nefarious people are doing. Hey, come to my car. Look in my trunk. I've got candy. I mean,
I don't. I think it's a little more organized
God.
than that. Yeah, it's more like what they do in the cities. Like the cities, you go to the malls,
Right.
Yeah.
The
A safe
neighborhoods.
place, like-
Neighborhoods in the cities will do stuff, but you want to, and even the mall trick or treating has always been a big thing. Back when the malls were a thing.
Yeah, back when you had more than 5 different shops. in the
Yeah, I
mall.
mean it's changed a lot,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Oh,
I
wow.
have a couple of stories I want to throw at you. A Colorado funeral home is being accused of giving families fake ashes after cremation services.
oh, no.
At least one customer is even saying that instead of ashes, they were given Quickcrete. Can you imagine? Wow, Mama's ashes
got a little
very
heavy.
hard.
I spilled water on
here's a reconstruction. I don't know how you figure that out.
He ain't heavy,
God
he's your brother.
forbid if you spilled water on it, right? How do you figure this out? right?
That's the thing. They probably
They opened the jar?
Yeah, they dropped mom or dad on the kitchen floor when there was a
Wait
puddle.
a minute.
Here's a customer of Return to Nature Funeral Home, Tanya Wilson, talking about how she believes she never, ever was given her loved one's ashes. Here we go.
Everything kind of points to the idea that our mother was never actually cremated, and the ashes that we were given are either someone else's or not even human remains at all. And someone else told me that they look like Quikrete. One little dropper of water and mixed them up, and the reaction, it looked very, very similar in little pasty consistency and everything. And then when it dried into little tiny little rocks.
Okay, wait, she's mixing mom with water.
That's exactly what.
All right, this woman's crazy.
And the scary thing is, how would you really know what human ashes are?
Right.
The
Unless you
consistency.
have dealt with human ashes.
Yeah.
Well,
And I guess the question is, why not, cremate the person and give them the ashes?
Okay, so here's the thing, all right?
I mean, is it cost effective? I mean,
Well,
is the time's really that tough?
You need to call somebody from a crematorium as an expert witness because you don't know what's really left at the end. I mean, this is high heat.
They say that when your animal gets put down, and they say sometimes you'll get other animals mixed in because they do it all in a. They don't do one individual.
Don't say that because my wife got the cat and the dog done.
I think they would.
That's why I always say you should go to a taxidermist.
We didn't.
Then you know what you got.
We didn't tell the kids. It's just one day they woke up and it's like the cat and dog were gone.
They disappeared. They ran away.
No, that's not true.
No, but I think they do. Once a week or twice a week thing, and any animals that have been put down
only for ceremonial purposes, right? I mean,
listen, it's kind of it does help with the in the healing process,
right? The closure,
to be able to know
that
you have
mom is up there on the mantle, and
like I think we got
I think it is.
They have all sorts of things. It's become a big business where we got the paw print.
Oh yes, I know.
Done on like a ceramic type thing.
And for $99.99, we'll put it in the sealer on there.
Oh, you didn't get the litter box plaster mold of that?
So we just recently went through working with a funeral home, and they were wonderful, and I think that's what you're looking for when something happens, right? You're looking for somebody to guide you, and
right.
And but our people were really, really good, and
I believe you shouldn't wait. I mean, unexpected.
You mean to get it set up in
advance.
advance?
My grandmother had everything paid for. She was getting 1970 prices back then, and then she got it all done in modern day. And I mean, she really took them to the cleaners.
It is very smart.
You ask Vinny Akabats down there in Frankfurt, man. He'll tell you stories about my grandmother.
I know of a story where this happened, and it was in the valley where the husband and wife had figured out they had prepaid everything.
Yeah.
So when you prepay, that's it.
Yeah.
And
if the price goes up, it don't matter.
It's not supposed to.
Yeah.
But the family was being charged, saying because of inflation and that sort of thing, they owed this amount. But when you looked at the paperwork, it was sold as this is it.
Yeah, paid in full.
So they went back and they fought it, and the funeral home down there came back and said, sorry, we made a mistake. You're absolutely right. But how many people wouldn't know that when you're a grieving child or who knows what?
That's exactly why they say get it done prior, because when you're grieving, you end up, going along with or spending more. And there's some great funeral people around the area. I know a lot of them, and they're very professional.
I want to say, though, that it's more about you're grieving, and now you're in the situation where you're doing the business and setting everything. It's very hard on the people left behind. So if you can do that stuff in advance, Rob Hilton talks about it all the time. If you can do that stuff in advance, get it done.
He does have an office in Boonville, by the way.
Get it done. I didn't realize
that. He does. He has an office in Boonville. I see him once in a while at the Subway eating fresh.
The House is going to vote on a roughly $14 billion Israeli funding package today.
And it's coming from the IRS money.
And it's going to cut IRS funding. Ryan Schmelz is on the line right now. You remember what they wanted to do is Biden was doing this whole big thing on we're going to get in there and we're going to get the tax cheats. And Ryan, good morning. What do we know about this? This is interesting.
Right, so we are expecting a vote today. It's going to be a little bit later on, probably around 3 p.m. or so. Debate could start around 9 a.m. or shortly after the Republican conference meeting. That's going to happen around 9 a.m. Eastern time. But, yes, I mean, the way in which Speaker Johnson wants to pay for this is not really sitting well with the White House. And the reason is because they want to cut $14 billion from the IRS budget and use that to fund Israel aid. Now, Speaker Johnson's running into some issues because you have this Congressional Budget Office coming out and saying that this would actually cost the U.S. more money to cut money from the IRS because you wouldn't be able to enforce tax laws.
Yeah.
So Speaker Johnson kind of pushed back on that yesterday when my producer, Kelly Ferris, kind of asked him, well, hey, you know, what's your reaction to the CBO score? And he said, well, I'm not surprised at all because only in Washington can someone tell you you're cutting spending and actually making the deficit worse.
Yeah, think about that. Right, that's a very interesting look at it. However, we're spending a lot of money on Ukraine and now on the Israeli-Hamas war. That money's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, there is always a decent amount of money that's appropriated for Israel in the past. You know, every year during the fiscal budget process, you know, usually there is a good amount of money, whether it's Iron Dome funding or just some type of military funding or humanitarian aid. Usually that money gets appropriated some way or another. Now, yes, of course, there's this big debate here about, well, okay, you know, we're going through the appropriations process right now. Democrats are criticizing Republicans for trying to cut spending past, you know, the agreed to numbers that were in the debt ceiling agreement. But then Republicans are coming out and saying, okay, you might be in line with the top line spending numbers, but then you're trying to pass this emergency supplemental, which would take us way above those numbers. So, you know, Speaker Johnson in many ways is trying to send a statement that says, okay, we'll consider whatever you're trying to send to us, but we need to see a plan to pay for these things. This plan to pay for it might not sit well with the Biden administration, but could it send a message down the road that says, well, if you want to send us something, send us a way to pay for it too.
Yeah, okay. All right, interesting stuff, Ryan. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we'll see what happens today.
Hey, have a good one. Thank you, guys, as always.
All right, you have a great day. Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio.
My thought is the IRS doesn't need that money. It doesn't need it.
Listen, I learned many years ago, many years ago, you just don't go on the radio and start criticizing the IRS.
No, I mean, they're great.
The hell is wrong with you, man?
Listen, they just took a big chunk of money.
You're not doing that here on my watch.
No.
Shut the hell up.
Well, listen, I just paid my tax bill, so they're not going to be bothering me for a little bit.
By the way, somebody asking, which funeral home did you guys utilize? Ours was, I'm probably not going to get it right, Friedel, Williams, and Edmonds in New Hartford. They were wonderful. Because people are at a very difficult point in their lives. They're very sad, right? It's terrible. Yeah. And when you find out, you know, the first thing they'll ask you is, did so-and-so pick a funeral home? Because you need that.
Yeah,
you gotta have that.
It takes a really special person to be in that business because it's difficult, you know, just knowing what to say or how to comfort people, or you know. But they're great at it.
Davey, go ahead.
My cousin.
You went through it recently as well.
Yeah, my cousin works at Barry's in Rome. And
okay.
He took care of my grandfather's funeral and my dad's when my dad unexpectedly passed away. That's a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it's nice to have somebody who works in that business, right, to help you. Otherwise, you're going it. But Joe is right. If you can get that stuff done, Rob Hilton is running to get in studio before the news. But it's something that he talks about all the time whenever he's on the air with us. Is You're
planning.
So much better off.
Bill, think about it. When you want to have a good week of healthy eating, you plan your week, you plan your meals. If you're ready to, you want to have the end result be a certain way, you have to plan for it. You have to have it in your will, because otherwise you can't. Like, I specifically say in my will that my ashes will be spread all over Saranac Thursday, and they need to bring it back before.
You're going to have to change that.
Yes. Meanwhile,
did you consult with Fred on that?
Meanwhile, the funeral home director has been arrested.
Have a beer on the load.
Yeah, they say that you have the more names you have in your title, the better your funeral home. It's like if it's a minimum of 4 or 5. You're good.
Yes. So, yeah, that's what you want to do. Okay.
No, I always thought about the old Viking way or the Irish way, where
just
you
put you out on the
put
lake?
me on the canal within a raft and just shoot a firing arrow.
Okay.
And let me just float down to the lock.
What's that smell? Oh, it's Joe Loon.
Joe, which do you want? Because we'll actually document this broadcast and make this happen. So.
Well, they don't have Saranac Thursdays really
All right,
anymore.
so we're gonna go the
that's gonna be
canal
tough.
route?
I think the canal route might be fine.
Mike this morning, I got a bunch of comments, so can I pipe them in here? Mike, here's a good stock tip. Invest in 3 in 1 oil, because the way they're running the printing presses that are printing all this money, they need to keep the gears well lubed. Boy, that's a really good point, and you're right. There's some money being thrown
Most
around.
people don't even know what 3 in 1
Joe
oil
has
is.
sent me the amazing recipe for that chicken that just
send that to
melts
me, too.
in your mouth.
Yeah.
And Donna says this morning, chicken, turkey, beef, pork on low in a crock pot falls apart. Any of those.
Oh, I was going to say, is that
chicken,
a combo meal?
Turkey, beef, or pork.
Yeah.
They all.
Well,
My
you take
girlfriend
the-
does the chuck
Go very
roast
well.
at least once a week.
That's great.
It's
and I take
delicious.
the pork shoulder and put that in to do your pulled pork, you know?
Yep.
For like Super Bowl and
All right,
stuff.
we have a. By the way, today, Davey, yes,
Nothing.
is National Your Mom Day. It's National Deviled Eggs Day.
Oh, yes. All
And
right. I'll have
Davy's-
to make you some.
Davy's mom is the queen of deviled eggs. And
I thought you were saying like your mom jokes.
Yeah, that's what I
Your
thought.
mama day.
I'll make you some. Have her make her some.
Thank you. National Deviled Egg Day is today. We have news straight ahead at WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
More foreign nationals hope to leave Gaza today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. They're at a border crossing with Egypt.
Yesterday, hundreds of people were able to make it out. 4 nationals, along with injured Palestinians, taken to Egyptian hospitals. Among that group, there were at least 5 Americans that I have personally been able to confirm that were released.
Fox's Trey Yings near Gaza also reports
that 242 hostages are confirmed to be held inside Gaza.
where fighting still rages with Israeli forces pushing deeper. 17 of their soldiers have been killed, while officials in Gaza say the number of Palestinians killed tops 8,800. The House could vote today to approve military aid to Israel, $14 billion worth.
We're all here united, standing shoulder to shoulder with Israel.
But Republican Congressman Chip Roy tells Fox the bill does not include more aid to Ukraine like President Biden wants. Donald Trump Jr. will turn to the witness stand today at the Trump Organization's civil trial in New York. He has testified he was not involved in accounting and financial statements. The former president calls the case rigged, denying his company committed fraud like the judge already ruled. There's another attempt this week to try to block the former president from being on the 2024 ballot. While a hearing continues in Colorado, one will start today in Minnesota.
Minnesota Democrats will argue before the state's high court that under federal law, anyone who's sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and then engages in insurrection is barred from ever holding public office again.
Fox's Jeff Manasseh. That provision dates back to the Civil War, and critics of the legal challenge argue no one, including the former president, has been charged with insurrection over the 2021 Capitol riot. There's a new champion in Major League Baseball.
It's happened! The Texas Rangers win the World Series!
The final out on Fox and Texas's 5-0 win over Arizona.
Just emotional. Everything I've ever worked for is for this moment.
That's second baseman Marcus Semien celebrating the Rangers' first title in 63 seasons. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Good morning, WIBX 950 News Time 7:03. I'm Andrew Derminio. Right now, we're at a brisk 32 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Your full weather forecast is coming up. This update brought to you by Home and Hospital Medical Supplies and Service, carrying a wide selection of home medical equipment. Call them at 315-724-6767 and online at hnhmedicalny.com. That Cornell University student has been ordered to be held without bail after making his first appearance in federal court. Yesterday, 21-year-old Patrick Dye was in front of a judge in Syracuse after being arrested for allegedly threatening to hurt Jewish students on the Cornell campus in Ithaca. Prosecutors say that Dye visited one of the locations he threatened to attack. He faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted and is due back in court November 15th. That murder trial of Anthony Waldron is going to be on hold for a second straight day today. The judge sent jurors home yesterday after saying an issue had come up. It was later revealed Waldron had been taken to Oswego Hospital, but no information has been released on his current condition. Waldron has been charged in connection with the 2021 death of his stepson, 17-year-old Jordan Brooks. There's no word when the trial could resume. TTM Technologies has announced a plan to boost its presence in central New York. The California company wants to spend at least $100 million to build a new manufacturing facility in DeWitt. TTM Technologies already employs hundreds of people in the region, and this new plant is expected to add roughly 400 more jobs. The hope is to break ground on this project next year, so production on things like circuit boards that'll be used by the military can begin in 2025. Applications are now being accepted for New York State tuition assistance. Ahead of 2024-2025 academic year, financial help is available for those who need it. Those students who attend an approved school in the Empire State, of course. The maximum TAP award is more than $5,000, and the goal of this program is to provide support to people who may not be able to afford a college education. For more information, head to hesc.ny.gov. And someone from Central New York just won the Take 5 jackpot. Is it you? If you purchased a Take 5 ticket at your local Price Chopper, listen up. Chances are it just scored you a fabulous monetary prize. The New York Lottery announced someone matched the numbers for the Take 5 evening drawing on Halloween, where a $17,751.50 grand prize was up for grabs. And that was a local Price Chopper on Genesee Street in Utica. WIBX 950 News Time 7:06. Your weather forecast is according to Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint at the WIBX Weather Center. Today, partly sunny, spotty snow showers to the north and west, mainly in the morning, then increasing afternoon clouds and still cool, a high near 45. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low 34. And tomorrow, partly sunny, becoming breezy, milder, pleasant for the afternoon, a high near 55. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Currently, where are we now?
Freezing.
It's cold.
32 degrees.
32. I was just outside grabbing a water. And what I do is when it snows, I just put it in a bucket and wait for it to melt.
Just leave it in your car.
And it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold and
very,
cloudy.
very, very, very cold. I thought I'd add I found this online, and because you're now doing the sports.
Yes.
As well as the news, I thought I'd give you a new sports bet.
Oh, I love it.
Because I think a good sports song, Davey, would you agree? And you probably heard it last night at the Dome.
Yeah.
Is Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Yep.
There's a new version.
Yeah.
There's a new version out, and it's this group that's playing Thunderstruck, and they're using PVC pipe.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so I thought that would be
Schedule 40.
That'll be your sports bet. That's going to be your sports bet. Are you ready?
Sports, by the way, brought to you by Clinton Tractor, the leader in service. Visit clintontractor.net.
Okay, here we go. Here's Andrew Dominio with sports.
The Texas Rangers are the World Series champions for the first time in franchise history. Texas defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5 of the Fall Classic in Phoenix. Mitch Garver delivered the go-ahead run in the 7th inning after the Rangers were no-hit through the first 6 innings.
I like it.
The D-backs went 0 for 9
This
with
is
runners.
more entertaining than the World Series was. Right? Don't you think?
Yeah, well, it was Game 5 for the Texas Rangers to get it done. It sounds like the People's Court, really, is what it sounds like. Now entering the courtroom.
This is actually pretty good when you think about it.
It's all PVC pipe.
All PVC pipe. That's
pretty cool.
The Syracuse...
All right,
yeah, thank you. You want me to go to the regular bed?
I still think the bagpiper version down in Boston I saw was...
Thunderstruck?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Nice.
And they had like little fire things shot up.
Fritz's Polka Band. Hearing them do polka and combine it with like AC/DC and stuff like that, or Led Zeppelin or something, it's just awesome.
Who's now a Hall of Famer, by the way.
Here's sports with Andrew.
As I mentioned before, the Texas Rangers are the World Series champions for the first time in franchise history, beating the Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5 of the Fall Classic in Phoenix. Syracuse Orange getting it done against the College of St. Rose last night. Final score, well, I had it, but now I don't anymore. Smitty, what was the final score?
82-66.
Thank you very much. It was actually 86-61.
61, sorry.
Thanks for that. The Las Vegas Raiders are making a change under center. New interim head coach Antonio Pierce announced Wednesday that rookie Aiden O'Connell will take over the starting quarterback job in place of veteran Jimmy Garoppolo. That comes on the heels of the firing of head coach Mike McDaniels, offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi, and general manager Dave Ziegler. Right here on WIBX tonight, Thursday Night Football in Pittsburgh, the pair of young quarterbacks of Kenny Pickett and the Steelers will battle Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans from Acrisure Stadium, which is the new stadium of the Pittsburgh Steelers, formerly Heinz Field. The Giants are going to be without their top tight end for a while. Darren Waller is potentially going to be out weeks with a right hamstring injury. He did not participate in Wednesday's practice, but did say he was feeling a little better than when the injury first occurred. And the Jets looked to make a splash at the NFL trade deadline, but fell short. According to the New York Post, the Jets tried to trade for Raiders wide receiver Devontae Adams and Buccaneers wideout Mike Evans. Gang Green reportedly made repeated inquiries about both players, but were consistently rebuffed. And I say consistently, I mean consistently. New York is currently third in the AFC East at 4-3, and will host
consistent. I like the first way you
Me
said
too.
it.
Thanks.
Better.
Los
Sounds
Angeles,
nefarious.
yeah, consistently. So yeah, they tried to get Devontae Adams and eventually Aaron Rodgers back together, and bringing in Mike Evans, but those were failed efforts.
I think the greatest thing that I ever taught you, Andrew,
was just plow forward. Yeah,
plow forward.
It's been a while.
I'll explain what. But no, that's fine. But my point is, Andrew's been with me since he was a junior in high school.
Yeah,
15. Yeah.
You never go back and correct yourself, right?
What's that?
You never correct yourself.
Well,
you just
no,
just go through it.
sometimes you do need to correct yourself. But my rule for Andrew was, when it's kind of like when you're driving up on an intersection and you have to make decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
The light turns yellow, it turns red. You have a hazard. Yellow means hit the gas. Red means, oh great, I gotta stop. But the fact is that when you see some like Russian name and there ain't no way you're gonna pronounce it, you have two choices: roll through and make it sound like you know what you're saying, or just say. Another player was just, and then move forward and don't try to pronounce the name.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be those times early on in your career.
Yeah,
where
I would stop and just halt.
It would
and panic.
Hezmakoki. And be like, everyone at home is like, yeah, he nailed that one.
He knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah. But today you're good. You're fluent. You fly right over these things.
Right, and also too, if you make a mistake, you could go back and make fun of yourself and try and make a little joke out of it.
I guess you can. Okay.
Or I can call Bob.
Coming up, call Bob. Coming up, we are going to dig into this Remington Arms thing. Now, Joe, you're a Valley guy, and so you understand. In fact, your dad worked at Remington as well. My dad worked at Remington.
Matter of fact, you don't remember the story about my father and your father in the wood shop. This was years ago.
Okay.
Your father used to like run up behind my father and give him a little like pinch on the back of the arm.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
"Oh, stop that, you know." And then one day he swung around with a stock in his hand and hit your father on the elbow. Broke the stock right over his elbow, but your father was fine because it hit him in the right spot. But he cracked him good.
You're gonna pay for that.
Well,
You don't pinch me anymore.
When you spend all day long sanding a stock, right?
Yeah.
You learn how to, defend against one.
This is how things have changed there. They used to have their own wood shop, and then
Well,
now
the custom shop was there, which I think was your father a part of that too.
He wasn't in the custom shop.
Either
no.
way, it's so sad. The original, Remington Arms has closed. There is no such company anymore. Now you'll have Rem Arms and these versions of it. What currently exists, and they have a couple of hundred employees. That's it.
So there are still some actively working at the plant.
There are some things happening in Ilion, but not a lot.
There was a point where there was over 3,000 employees when DuPont owned it.
3:30 hit on a weekday, and you did not want to be in Ilion.
No, they had their own cop to direct traffic. Remember out front?
Well, it wasn't. It was the Alien Police.
Yeah, well, Ilion Police.
It was there for that reason.
For that reason,
Yeah.
right? You can never get through.
So those employees is towards the end. One is a friend of mine who had over 20 years in Remington, and expected this severance package, and it looks like they're getting nothing, or almost nothing. And so, what's the legality around this? So, for instance, I know if you did, it was like $1,000 a year. So if you were there for 20 years, you're getting $20,000. But now they're coming out and saying, well, we've been able to negotiate with the union, and we're only going to be able to pay 0.11%, which means you're somebody who was, maybe going to get $20,000 is going to get about $220.
That's ridiculous.
So that's terrible. What are the legalities around this? What can people do if you're one of those employees? Joe Tralia, right, is an attorney that specializes in labor law, education law as well, and we'll speak with him coming up in a second to see what these employees are and are not entitled to under the law. And you think about it, you work your whole life thinking you've invested in a pension, and what do you end up with? Pretty scary. Hold tight. We'll come back 7:15 at WIBX.
Hello, I'm Courtney Muhammad, write-in candidate for mayor of Utica, another choice for mayor. I was born and raised in Utica, New York, have worked behind the scenes for many years on positive and successful programs. I'm a retired chaplain from the New York State Department of Corrections and hold a degree in business public management from SUNY IT. My combination of experience working in the inner city, along with my clergy and business background, has uniquely prepared me to be sensitive to the growing and challenging needs of our ever-changing city. Let's continue the rebuilding, restoring, and revival of a new Utica that we all can be proud of. I'm asking for your support. Write in Courtney Muhammad for mayor, and together let's change the world. Changing the world starts with you, Utica. Find me at healutica.com.
Paid for by Friends of Courtney Muhammad for mayor.
Here's something you've never heard before.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Introducing 24/7 Lifeguard Protection, only from Simply Safe Home Security. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Hi, I'm Mike Galimi. I'm running for mayor. Over the last year, I've personally walked your neighborhoods and listened to you. I've built a resume of integrity and trust, committed to leading an open government as council president. Now it's time for a new style of leadership. I have the experience, knowledge, and plan to move this city forward as mayor. Utica has a choice to make. Professionalism over inexperience, responsibility over uncertainty, honesty over corruption. Here's the thing. I value facts, trust, and the concerns of the people above all else. On November 7th, vote Mike Galimi for mayor. Paid for by Mike for Mayor.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun, so you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has been Rome City Court Judge for 24 years.
This is John Gannon. I want to ensure that Rome will be a safe hometown for our families to prosper. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Rated highly qualified by the Oneida County Bar Association. Judge John Gannon. Fair, firm, honest. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Judge John C. Gannon.
Want to know how to get the same cell coverage for up to half the cost? Well, instead of spending a fortune building and maintaining their own cell phone towers, Consumer Cellular just pays to use the same towers as the largest carriers and passes the savings on to you. Pretty smart, huh? Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
The Community Foundation of Herkimer and Oneida Counties is your community foundation. Together, we've invested $125 million in the community, thanks to people, families, and businesses that want to give back and build a brighter future. And you don't have to have big bucks to make a big difference. Join us as we invest in the future of our community. Learn more about your community foundation at foundationhoc.org.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
Bob Cardillo, experience from day one.
When 9/11 happened, Bob was called. When Katrina happened, Bob was called. When Utica University, ConMed, and PAR needed to expand, they called on Bob.
Now you can call on Bob and put Bob's plans to work for you. Using his extensive experience, Bob has plans to reduce crime, plans to keep our city clean and the roads repaired, plans to revitalize our neighborhood and engage our youth, plans to promote our economic development and keep the next generation here in Utica. November 7th, vote Bob Cardillo, Mayor of Utica.
I'm Bob Cardillo. Put my leadership experience to work for you as the next Mayor of Utica.
Paid for by friends of Bob Cardillo.
Catch Keeler on the go. Download the free WIBX 950 app today.
We'll make it work. All right, good morning, 7:21, and okay, I want to get into this, especially for people not just in the Valley, but, you know, over the years, Remington Arms drew from people all over the region, and there are so many people who built careers and expected to be taken care of for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
By their pension. And that all became very, very unstable. And in some cases, it didn't come to fruition after the company folded. And now there's a new company. We can talk about that. That's a whole different story, how they were able to fold. And then the same people who were a part of the company that folded, the original Remington, are a part of the new Remington. Kind of interesting how that works out, isn't it?
And all very confusing, too.
In studio is Joe DeTralia. He is an attorney who specializes in labor law. Joe, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I do want to clarify a few things. In a fight, who wins, you or Cliff Crandall?
He's the grandmaster.
He
wins.
is the grandmaster. All right. All right, fair enough.
Did you know I'm a student?
I do know that, and if I'm correct, you have a black belt.
Yes, that's correct.
So talk just a little bit about Cliff. Is an amazing guy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And you saw him flex recently. He's entering the competition.
He's entering this.
Like a
coming up
bodybuilding
soon.
competition.
And by the way, he's competing not in the 70 and over category. He's competing in the open category. So there'll be a 25-year-old in there, and he looks pretty darn good.
Sure does.
It's unbelievable.
God bless.
All right, I have another question. So you're there. You're in a confrontation. There's a fight. It's you and it's Adam Ellis who wins.
We're not speaking about Adam Ellis.
Okay, all right.
No comment there.
Great guy. Adam's great guy.
Is, I'll see him later today as my chiropractor. So.
That's right.
We did a little research on you on the way in. So anyway, Cliff Crandall, a great guy to work with. And
Absolutely.
What he's doing today, what he's done for people over the years is incredible. He's one of those people that when he tells a story of something that he's accomplished, you kind of step back and you're like, really? But he usually has the photo to back it up. Like, it's all real stuff.
It's all documented.
That's true. They're true stories.
They're true, and he's been all
Traveled
around the world. It's really quite impressive. All right, now about you. Labor law is your specialty. These people at Remington are 20-plus year employees. They are expecting a severance package. It was all part of their contract. But now they're seeing documentation, letters that are floating around that are basically saying the company is only going to be able to pay about a little more than 1%, which would mean if you have $20,000 coming, you might get $200,000. Is that how you're reading this?
Yeah. So the limited information that I've seen on this, and I can only speak to what I know, is that there's the bankruptcy court is what has changed the dynamics for the workers of Remington.
Yeah.
They had a contract for many years, and traditionally collective bargaining, you go back to the table every few years and you negotiate your raises and wages and hours, working conditions, all the types of things that traditionally happen in labor law.
Yeah.
Everything changes once they file a petition in bankruptcy court, because once that happens, a whole new set of rules comes into play, and what previously was a contractual obligation may be altered by virtue of the bankruptcy court proceedings. And I believe that's what's going on here, where they had earned the right over the years to certain benefits, including severance benefits based on your length of service.
Sure.
The longer you work, if you get laid off, the longer your severance would be. But once they file in the bankruptcy court, all bets are off, and that's a shame and a tragedy for the hard workers in Ilion and
So now, what a pension though is handled a little differently.
Yeah, the Pension Guarantee Benefit Corporation, the PGBC, is the federal government agency that handles distressed pension plans. Right, they're underfunded. They've been underfunded for years and years, and then the pensioners go to retire, and then the company doesn't have the money for them anymore.
Right,
and the government would step in, and there's a complicated formula in terms of how to increase the funding, and they have insurance payments and to try to keep pension plans funded. This probably falls outside of that realm simply because this is a severance which was negotiated in the contract, a contractual agreement, as opposed to a pension plan which is set up under the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. If you ever heard the name ERISA, that's a separate federal law also, which is designed for the hardworking folks who spent their whole career at a company, and then there's no money when they go to retire.
Because it was very interesting. You were, and my dad was a Remington employee for over 30 years, and when when they were retired, they were all given the option because at one point DuPont owned, which was a good thing, right? You have a major company that is not just going to wither away and go out of business, but you were given the opportunity, and the incentive was you got a better plan if you went with Remington's. So many of those employees switched over to Remington, but if it wasn't for this, almost like FDIC backs the dollar. This backs the pensions. Without that, these longtime employees probably would have lost their pension.
Yeah, that whole purpose of that agency was the fact that too many pensioners were losing their pensions. They worked their whole lives, relied on it, and it wasn't there.
Yeah. But now you look at these guys that are sitting and waiting on, well, maybe we'll get half of the $20,000.
Right.
Maybe we'll.
I have friends who work at Remington, and they struggle with this because I have folks I know personally who were in line to get more than like you
20.
said, 10 or maybe in their family, because you know how many family members work together there, and people are married and children. There's
a family tradition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know people who were hoping to receive that kind of money, $5,000, $10,000 or more, and based on this latest information, it may not be there.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is awful, because even nowadays that's a lot of money for somebody, especially going into the holiday season or whenever it was going to be. At any time, it's going to be helpful, and that could be very useful to a lot of families right now, even that amount. And to just have it go and evaporate is difficult to grasp.
Right, and again, if I'm the Remington worker or the former Remington worker now, for some, like you said, I think they're down to they had maybe 600 a few years ago, maybe 200 to 300 now.
Yep.
The problem is you never knew when or whether you were going to get that money, and now the longer this drags on, the less optimistic.
Yeah, the less chance you're going to probably end up seeing anything. And what is it? Is this something? When you look back at the heydays of manufacturing, maybe the 50s and 60s, the 60s and 70s, where 70s things became, at least for Remington, became a little uneasy. There was always a threat that the company was going to move out or close. But we've lost that manufacturing base. In fact, there are still those who do have pensions, but it's not like it used to be. Most people are dealing with their own 401ks.
Right.
Has the advantage shifted to away from the worker?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and it's something that gets debated all the time. The bottom line is pensions in this country have shifted from the defined benefit plan, which is a pension plan based on a formula. You work so many years, you get so much when you retire, to what you call 401k plans. Those are the individual contribution plans. So the money goes into an account, and that hopefully grows over time. And then whatever money is there, as opposed to defined benefit, where you're guaranteed that amount. So if you're a working person now, one of the, if you're grandfathered into a pension, for example, New York State even has a pension system, but they have tiers. So the later you enter the system, the less generous the pension is going to be. And private sector companies try to get away completely from the defined benefit plans if they can, because then their obligation on the books turns out to be less. We put this much money in, and whatever money is there when you retire, you can have it, but we're not going to be on the hook for millions and millions unnecessarily, because we've put the money right into your 401k. That's yours when you retire.
So I wonder, is it advantageous of people to just go and find alternative methods like an IRA or something like that because of
well, if you're a public
is?
Employee, you're still in a pretty good system.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a school teacher, you're probably still in a good system. But what you're saying is these new people who are coming in, we're beginning to chop away at that.
Yeah, like New York State has tier system, and so it started with tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think they're at 6 now, maybe more. So there's lesser benefits, but it's still a good plan to be in.
Yeah.
It's still a good place to work, because it's unlikely that the state of New York is going to default on its pension payments, whereas a private company might.
Yeah. So Andrew's question: if you're in a private company, you probably don't even have the choice to be able to go into the pension.
That is right. So a lot of these plans would be called frozen, and then like no new entries after a certain date. So if you're grandfathered in, that's great, but then everybody new is now shifted over to the plan. So it does become more incumbent upon individuals to plan for your retirement, to try to save, like you say, IRAs or tax advantage ways to do that. But it is we all know the days are long gone of you start with a company from a young age, you stay there for your career, they take care of you, you have a nice pension when you retire. Those days are mostly gone.
Yeah.
And the manufacturing base has changed, and the way corporations are run today, it's different from what it was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
And I think, too, I mean, it just seems like a lot of people want to change careers or go to different places, or they're looking for the next best thing, right? So even from the worker standpoint, somebody staying at a company and giving the loyalty to that company is kind of gone by the wayside as well.
It's a tough world because I represent individuals and businesses, companies, and it's a constant struggle for the employers trying to keep the workers, right, be able to pay the wages, especially with inflation, so they have to then pay even more.
Yeah.
So the labor costs are going up because of inflation overall. The individuals need more money because of inflation, and it's a constant battle. So for the individual employee, collective bargaining is a method if you have a unionized environment where you try to get the better wages. But if you're not in a union environment and you're an individual, you may have to change jobs to get that pay increase. And in the old days, a pension would be an incentive to stay there because the more years of service, the higher the pension.
Right.
Nowadays, if it's only a 401k at this company or that company or the other company, you could change.
And
you could take the
transfer it.
money, roll the money over and find a better job that pays you more because you're not locked into a long-term pension benefit.
Interestingly, though, we're in a position where there are so many jobs open. People are working, businesses are working really hard to try to keep employees. So that offers just just business alone, the business climate is offering a bit of an advantage to the employee right now.
Yeah, right now the worker has more of a selection than they used to. In past years, employees would be afraid to change jobs. Now there's much more movement, just simply because there's more opportunities, and the individuals decide, I'm going to take this opportunity while it comes. You never know in the economic world of up and down. So right now, the employees who feel a little more confident to change jobs, whereas there's still, I'm sure, many employees out there who don't feel that confidence that I'm going to change jobs.
No, you're absolutely right. Very interesting. Joe Detralia, if people have questions, obviously your office is local and they can reach out to you.
Yep, and easy to remember. UticaLaborLaw.com is my website. You can find me there.
I have somebody who's younger that recently reached out and said, my employer is doing A, B, and C, and I'm turning them into the labor board. I'm like, okay, not such a good idea.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Maybe you want to talk to Joe. It's not simple, right? Especially in New York State.
Extremely complicated, extremely complex, whether you're talking the federal level, the state level, laws, rules, regulations. And in the last 5 years, with a number of changes through COVID alone and all the different laws, rules, and regulations, and trying to stay on top of everything, it's very difficult for everybody, employers and employees alike, to know what to do and how to follow the rules.
Very interesting time. So COVID really threw a monkey wrench into all of it. So.
Absolutely, and there's still questions lingering out there. How long will individuals in New York State be able to take a COVID sick leave? Right. So we're years out from that, and the question is, when does that end? And
when do we go from you have COVID, do not set foot in this place, to I better see you here on Monday morning.
Put a mask on and get over
here. Joe, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Not great news for the employees former employees of Remington out there. It's pretty darn sad. Joe Detralia, appreciate it. It's 7:36. Coming up, we'll do Habaika's free money question of the day on WIBX.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. When I'm out talking to people, one thing comes up again and again: paving. As mayor, I will create a transparent system for paving. We'll evaluate each street and publish a list of worst to best. You'll know when to expect your street to be repaved. Please, vote for me in this November's election. Early voting runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. As mayor, public safety will be my #1 priority. I will hire a full-time, independent, qualified public safety commissioner who will work full-time to make our city safe for all of us, including safe streets, safe housing, and effective emergency response. Please vote for me in this November's election. Early voting runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
QVC is throwing the biggest holiday party of the year, and you're invited. Our non-stop holiday party is coming to you live for 49 straight hours of holiday shopping, tips and tricks to own the season, non-stop fun, and so much more. We'll be joined by our favorite celebs and guests, but it won't be a party without you. Join us for our non-stop holiday party, November 4th and 5th, everywhere you watch QVC. This is shopping brought to life.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has been Rome City Court Judge for 24 years.
This is John Gannon. I want to ensure that Rome will be a safe hometown for our families to prosper. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Rated highly qualified by the Oneida County Bar Association. Judge John Gannon. Fair, firm, honest. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Judge John C. Gannon.
Want to know how to get the same cell coverage for up to half the cost? Well, instead of spending a fortune building and maintaining their own cell phone towers, Consumer Cellular just pays to use the same towers as the largest carriers and passes the savings on to you. Pretty smart, huh? Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single-line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Simply Safe, our award-winning home security has advanced sensors, HD cameras, and now this 24/7 LifeGuard protection. Only from Simply Safe. Monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Now get 50% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The Wynn Hospital. Unwavering commitment and compassion. State-of-the-art technology and techniques. Advanced expertise and innovation. Consistent safety and quality. And it all will be exactly where you need it, because this fall, the brand new state-of-the-art Wynn Hospital will open in downtown Utica. Soon, you will be able to experience local care on a whole new level. The Wynn Hospital, world-class care is right around the corner. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you. At MVHS, our team members fell in love with care long ago. Their lives were changed, and their world has been expanding ever since. In respect, compassion, knowledge, and ability. And it's only just begun. Because fueling the future of care starts here at the Wynn Hospital. The Wynn Hospital, opening in October 2023. Learn more at mvhealthsystem.org. This is for you.
28 years ago, Lori Potasowicz had a dream. With a natural love for pets, she wanted to become an expert groomer. So she set out to become the area's only nationally certified master groomer and launched her business, one paw at a time. With grooming expertise and a lot of loving care, Lori and her talented team began caring for pets one paw at a time. Cuts, shampoos, and styling, one paw at a time. Teeth and nails with no detail overlooked from head to toe, one paw at a time. Getting to know each and every dog and cat by name, the One Paw at a Time family grew, and Lori had a decision to make. Keep expanding? She followed her heart and decided to keep the One Paw family atmosphere just the way it is, so she can keep taking care of the pets she knows and loves, one paw at a time. Lori and her team want to thank the families they serve for putting their trust in them to care for their four-legged family members, one paw at a time. 320 Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro near Woods Road. One Paw appreciates your understanding for their current waiting list for new customers.
Your week in local news happens here. First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
All right, 7:42 and Thursday morning, and in studio right now is Tim Julian, who is the minority leader on the county legislature and is running for re-election.
Yes.
And your opponent is coming at you pretty hard.
Yeah. You know, look, I don't know exactly what direction he's coming from, but you know, most of it is inaccuracies and hyperbole, and you know, it's fine. I mean, if he wants to go down that path and say these things, I mean, I'm not even sure where he's going on any particular day. But you know, he's spewing inaccuracies. You know, he talks about we're going to cut the budget. We're going to cut taxes. And when asked where you're going to cut taxes from, he says, well, the New York, you know, the social services budget is, you know, $244 million, and we're going to cut that. We're going to cut that.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, here's the problem: is that 100% of that is mandated by New York State.
Right.
So you really have no place to cut it. And you know, he likes to play on these thoughts that people might have that, you know, the social services is just these people who you see perhaps, you know, that can do better for them. We're going to put them to work. Now, first off, you can't get people who can work and do work to work right
Correct. We're in there is no easy solution.
Strange times. And, you know, and so, you know, and you can't force someone to work. We can't even get the prisoner work program anymore because there's no guards to guard these prisoners
when they're off site.
There's such a shortage.
So it's very difficult to even do that. So, and he talks about this. He tries to get people's visceral responses going, saying, "Oh, geez, these people are going to go back to work." But you know, social services isn't just someone who's, you know, perhaps taking advantage of a system as he would like to make you think. Social services could be, you know, that working mother of three who needs some daycare for her kids so she can go off and do her job, or the father who's, you know, has to come home at night but then go take care of his parents after dinner because you know, there's no one to watch them, and perhaps they're slipping into, you know, a later in life ailment,
or they're working 40 hours a week but not meeting the even close to the amount they need,
the threshold of what you have to make in order to, you know, with the inflation and all the other issues. So there's a lot of things about social services that is paid for and covered by these things that you can't cut anyway. And you know what's sad about that? And I brought this out at a debate, so I really have no qualms about bringing it out here. Is the fact that Mr. Zecca lives off the public system. Mr. Zecca himself gets a pension check from New York State that he lives off. He's never been in the private sector. He doesn't know what it's like to make a payroll. He's done it by taking money from the public and handing it out that way. So when he talks about all this years of experience, he's got no private sector experience, which is really where you see things happening. Now, myself, as the legislator that currently sits there, I've grown up in that district. I make a point. I was born in that district. I lived in that district my whole life. I went to school in that district. I've literally walked probably thousands and thousands of miles throughout that district. And that doesn't make me eminently more qualified. But it makes me know all the problems.
You know the district.
I know that district like the back of my hand. I know the streets. I know the people. I know, you know, the people who are there are still the parents of the kids I went to school with in a lot of cases. So as I look at this, you know, and you know, the big issue we're facing is, of course, St. Elizabeth's Hospital, and you know, the former St. Elizabeth's Hospital campus, which, you know, now I went to the council meeting last night and I addressed the council, and I told them, I said, here, we need a legacy. You know, I mean, when I look back at the years I was in the mayor's office, and you say to yourself, what do you do when you drive around? People come into town and you say, oh, let's drive around. Show me your town. And you can say, I can point to this or whatever and say, I did this. I did this. I did this. But I also say there's the legacy of the unseen, the things that we stopped or that aren't there. That really you could look at and say, and, you know, so for instance, you know, there's no sexual predator court at the Utica Psychiatric Center because I fought the chief, you know, 6th Judicial District Judge, Jim Tormey at that time, who's he's since passed, but I fought him because he wanted to put that there. I said, no, you're not going to put that in. Get out of here. You're not going to do that. You know, we took down Bozzard. That's something you don't see anymore. We took down the TRW building. I had to sue the county. I had to sue Edge. I had to sue everybody under the sun at that particular time to take that building down, the TRW building across from Shenatry's Market, which, by the way, it's still an empty field, but it's not a bombed out building sitting there waiting for
right.
someone to come along and do something. And the big one was NYRI, the power line that would have dissected not only
Boy,
the
I
city
forgot
of
all
Utica.
about that. Yeah.
No, I don't. I have nightmares about that still because, I look right out of my bedroom window and I would see a 110-foot tall power line pole there. And really, so I look at these things and they're not there because of what we've done.
Right.
And I told the council that we really need to have that legacy from them of the unseen by getting this building down. And easily, they're getting $1.5 million for the Kennedy Garage from MVHS.
Yes,
So let's take that money, put that aside for a demolition and acquisition account for St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Let's take, probably whatever's left over in the ARPA monies, which maybe it's $1 million, maybe it's $2 million that hasn't been spent yet.
On a dog park and stuff.
Dog park. A couple of
Joe
skate
Beatrice
parks.
can be mad over that. I'm sorry, Joe.
Hey, listen, we still use that dog
A
park.
couple of skate parks. I got my board out.
Yeah, me too.
Don't forget your helmet and knee pads now.
Me and Tony, maybe you need that. so but you have these things, and there's ARPA money that's probably left that's been unexpended for. So say that's $1 million. Say it's $2 million. Okay, now go to MVHS and say, look, in order for you to hold up your end of the bargain, you would need to either board this, secure it, fence it, and provide security there. That's going to cost money. So let's say we take some money from them or ask them for some money. Instead of doing that, let's put it toward demolition. And then let's not forget another thing that is unseen is a $27 million ledger entry on the city budget, because I fought with the county to make sure that we, the city of Utica, didn't have to pay a separate $27 million for that downtown Utica parking garage. So I always look at it. I saved the city $27 million. And people say, well, we still pay it through county taxes. Yes, we do, but it's spread out amongst all the county taxpayers, not just the Utica taxpayers. Because it is a regional asset. It's a regional asset that supports 2 or 3 other regional assets, and I think that because of that, it should be paid for regionally and not just on the backs of the city of Utica taxpayers just because it happens to sit in the city of Utica. So, these are all monies that were safe. So if you need to bond a little bit to get this building down, we need to start making the inroads to get this building down, because now later this month there'll start to be meetings about what the reuse of that property is with these consultants that have been hired. And I assure you, there is no reuse of that building as it sits.
Building's in a rough shape.
Well, and most of the time, too, any developer is going to come in and take it down and build something new anyway because it's cheaper.
Well, any developer who would go in there, and let's just point to the Obleston, that will get enough money to make that a viable project, is going to get a lot of government money. And what comes with government money? Strings. There's always strings attached to what you have to do.
Bingo.
With what you're going to put there. And essentially, you're between 2 grade schools, one of which I attended. But you're between 2 grade schools. You're across the street from a church. You're right on Main Street, Utica, with Genesee Street. And you back up to one of the best neighborhoods, I would say, not only in the whole county, but probably in the whole state. So for us to sit there and say, well, we're going to let this fall into the ebbs and flows of the people who go in there and decide that, this would be a nice reuse of this. There is no reuse.
The last thing we need is a poll. We need leadership that's going to come in and say, this is just as you're talking about. I mean, there's a real...
We need a gunslinger. We need a gunslinger.
A gunslinger.
I'm that gunslinger.
that can look at this as an opportunity. There is an opportunity here.
There is an opportunity here, but it's not an opportunity to take that building, which, by the way, most hospitals, even a day after they are open, have so much contaminants through the HVAC system that those are considered, certainly hazards as well. So as you're starting to look at these things, not only just the usual stuff that would be in a building that age, but also things that come just inherently from a hospital. So
I have some people with some questions for you. Willing to?
Let's go.
I do know. I don't even have to ask Tim Julian, right?
You'll take the questions.
You've never shied away from a question.
Never.
Let me start with Rick. A question for Tim Julian, running for county legislator, re-election. Rick, you're on the radio with Tim. Good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good. Rick, how are you? What do you have?
Tim, I live on Ballantyne Bray, and I think you're well aware of the 10 or 12 properties that the hospital owns on Ballantyne.
Correct.
If they were to sell those, there's $1 million right there. And they're not upkept like the rest of the homes on the street. What do you think about that? Or do they have plans?
We haven't really talked with them about those particular houses because they do fit into the residential fabric that is there right now, so there is no urgency like there is with the main building. I know that a lot of the folks who are there and live in those houses that the hospital owns are maybe people who work at the actual hospital themselves, interns and such, or some of the people from the nursing school also do live there. And one of the houses, interestingly, back when I was mayor, we actually put those houses back on the tax rolls because they were off the tax rolls, and we put them back on the tax rolls.
Yeah.
There is one there that we left off the tax rolls because it was like a house that people could use if they had, someone who was at the hospital but they couldn't afford to stay anywhere.
Like a Ronald McDonald House.
Kind of like a Ronald McDonald House type thing. Yeah. So that one did remain off the tax rolls, but... I think that's the next conversation. I agree with you. They should keep them up a little bit better. That's a question for the Utica City Codes Department, but by all means, we can go down that path as well. That's easily $1 million. That's easily $1 million. That's probably $2 million. Actually,
probably
those houses
more.
were to be sold.
Honestly.
We got an expert real estate agent
here
with us, and Andrew Dominio. But
there we go. Yeah, that's why he's here.
Andrew, I'm your competition. Retired. Too bad.
Rick, how you doing, buddy? I listen. I know where your loyalties are, but throw a few referrals my way, buddy.
Andrew's always working.
Rick, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick.
Ed Welch is on for Tim Julian. Ed, good morning.
Morning, Ed.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Tell him Ed sent you.
Well, you could do that. A couple of quick things. First of all, Tim, I agree with you 1,000% on what we're trying to accomplish here at St. Elizabeth's. As most people know, I represented South Utica County for 18 years. And, Tim, you're doing a good job. And I want to just say that one thing, we hear from people to say what they don't want there, and rather than what they do want. I think the first thing we all want is to have that building demoed.
Correct.
But the one point I want to make is that whatever somebody has a plan, whether it's A, B, C, or D, whatever it is, one of the criteria of the plan is it has to measure the effect on the property values of South Utica.
I agree.
Anything I've read so far with things have not really addressed any of that. So I think the prism that it has to go through is how's it going to affect property values? And I think that's one of the things that needs to be on the top of the priority list when we start looking at reuse.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. And what's interesting is that the neighborhood that's there, it's such a tremendous neighborhood, and there's so many people who've lived there and have lived there a long time. And it's almost as if some of these folks are unfortunately are aging out of the two-story homes, and they can't go up and down the stairs. So that's why I always look at, if we can take this and create a development there that may be a 55 and up community, gated 55-plus community.
Especially in a community like ours where it is getting older and older.
And, when people talk about this, one of the things they'll always say is they'll say, well, it's going to cost money to take that building down. And we are the city of Utica. We have that opportunity to put a tax on this property in perpetuity.
Right,
so
right.
We're going to sooner or later get that money back. But this is where people drive me crazy. Go, well, you're not supposed to spend this money. Government exists to do the things that the private sector can't do. And one of the things the private sector can't do without that huge chunk of government assistance, this is going to give us something that we don't want, is the private sector will go in there and do this. We can take that building down. We can bond for that. We can push it out over a bunch of years, and we can get that building down and get that pad shovel ready for a developer to come in, even put the roadways in,
which is much more valuable.
Which would be much more valuable.
And when you think about it, Ed, do you want to add anything before I let you go?
Yes, first of all, Tim's on the right track, and I'll certainly work with him and support whatever we need to do. The last thing I want to say is for many years, I had the honor and pleasure of working with Harry Hertlein, who is the minority leader for the Democratic Party in the city of Utica, representing West Utica. And you know what? I had nothing but love and respect for him. And as far as I'm concerned, Tim, you're the new Harry Hertlein.
Wow.
Well, I've got to reopen Sporana's then, so I can sit down there and have dinner and hold court, because I know Harry was certainly a fixture there. But yeah, Harry was a great guy. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was busy right up to the end with the Solid Waste Authority and everything else. So God bless Harry Hertlein and his family. That's for sure.
Ed Welch, it's great hearing from you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Ed.
All right, Ed.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day. So we talk about the hospital as being an opportunity. What happened on Sunday is just incredible. It doesn't happen in most communities. It'll only happen once in a lifetime, but it could be generations before we see.
I'll tell you where
another
I thought
hospital.
I'll tell you where I thought it was a bust.
Okay.
Okay. is I went down there to watch this.
There was nothing to watch.
There was nothing to watch.
I know.
I was like, I wanted to see this parade of ambulances rolling down Genesee Street like some MOVAC parade.
There was none of that.
There was none of it.
Yeah.
There was just a couple of ambulances that were queued up on the side of the building. That was it.
I heard that from a local photographer who said, I could have used a little more.
Yeah.
There was really nothing there.
Was that Nancy?
So it was Nancy. So but I do have to say, this is another very unique opportunity. When do you have an opportunity to create an entire new neighborhood?
I did it.
And you did it. So talk about that.
I did it in North Utica. We did it up at Colonial Square. I mean, we had that Weaver property that was there at one time. And I mean, the folks that were coming in for that were, we want to have a place here where we can have reenactments. I said, well, the neighbors don't want the kids riding their dirt bikes there. We're going to have like a full-on Revolutionary War battle back there? No.
Wow.
So, we talked to the right developers. I mean, that was a great piece of property.
Yep. And,
we were able to do that. And again, I can see something like that here with townhomes, with garages built into them. Even right now, there's extremely inexpensive elevators. So even if you could put like a multiple story up, you could have an elevator along with a staircase into some of these places to get up and down the stairs. But I also, I look at cul-de-sacs and the ability to put a cul-de-sac in some of these areas and have these properties there. And again, gated community with an HOA that would take care of your lawn, that would take care of your snow plowing, that would take care of some of the simple maintenance, your garbage, all these things that become problematic. I think it's a win. I think
there
it's a big
are so
win.
many people that are aging out,
Yep.
and they are going out of Utica to find that.
Well, look at the Academy at Southgate. I mean, that's a building that if it could be replicated, and people would be interested in that.
Yeah. Okay, final words here, Tim Julian.
Well, last night, again, I was at the council meeting, and I did offer that up to them, and I'm certainly willing to continue to do that. But also, I was there and had the privilege of listening to the council vote to name the Central Fire Station on Park Ave after Russ Brooks. Chief Russ Brooks, who served the city with great distinction for quite a while.
No doubt.
So, congratulations to Russ and the whole Brooks family on having that honor. Certainly a tremendous individual I had the privilege of working with, and
we love Russ.
Those are the type of people that really make this area shine.
No doubt.
And even while he was working and while he continued to work, and after he left, he's always maintained vigilance for doing all the best things for this area, and that's what we look for. We look for people who are willing to do that and continue on, and work hard for the people of this community. And we have a lot of people who do that. So.
Yep, pretty awesome. Okay,
yeah, great stuff, guys.
Good luck on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Great.
Tim Julian. It is 8:00. WIBX Utica, Rome.
Crossing, they're now on the Egyptian side being processed.
Now, he's near the Gaza border where Israeli forces push deeper, battling Hamas in tunnels. As for the attacks on buildings at a refugee camp,
Hamas puts their tunnel network and command centers underneath those buildings. But we should be very critical of the strikes here, and we are asking questions to the Israeli military about how many civilians they knew were there.
Officials in Gaza say the deaths there are now part of a total of 9,061 Palestinians killed since Israel started waging war after the terror attacks. 18 Israeli soldiers have been killed in Gaza, and Israel's up the number of hostages Hamas is holding, 242. House Republicans could vote today to approve $14 billion in military aid to Israel.
Even if the bill passes the House, the White House has said President Biden would veto it. Instead, the president wants to see Israel aid passed as part of a $106 billion package that includes aid for Ukraine.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz also in the House, an attempt to censure Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
She has been mimicking and parroting Hamas talking points. She refuses to correct her misinformation and terrorist propaganda.
But while Congresswoman Elise Stefanik voted in favor, 23 of her fellow Republicans sided with Democrats, tabling the Tlaib censure. The House also rejected an attempt to expel Congressman George Santos over lies the Republican told voters that led to criminal indictments. For the first time, the Texas Rangers celebrating a World Series title.
This is what you work your whole life for, and we accomplished our goals, and I'm so proud of this team.
Catcher Jonah Heim after Texas's 5-0 Game 5 win over Arizona on Fox to win the World Series. America's listening to Fox News.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Israel's war against Hamas has led to increased concerns about the potential for a terror attack here in the U.S. The FBI director warned us about that this week. Attorney General Merrick Garland says
the Justice Department has no tolerance for violence or unlawful threats of violence fueled by anti-Semitism or Islamophobia.
After a series of pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses, a Cornell University student is facing charges of threatening Jews.
21-year-old Patrick Dye appeared in federal court in New York, handcuffed and wearing an orange jumpsuit. His parents were in court as well. Prosecutors wanted a detention hearing, calling him a flight risk, but Dye waived that. He did not enter a plea on charges of making threats to kill or injure another using interstate communications and is due back in court in mid-November. Dye's parents previously told the New York Post their son had been experiencing deep depression. Law enforcement found him in his apartment after tracking his IP address. He had written on a university Greek forum about wanting to kill, rape, and behead Jews. The Broome County Sheriff said Dye was being watched closely in jail for his and their safety. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
In Maine, after there was a massacre a week ago, a push for an independent commission to investigate.
Governor Janet Mills says she wants the commission to not only determine the facts and circumstances of the October 25th Lewiston shootings that killed 18 people at a bowling alley and bar, but also the police response to them. She also wants the group to look at the months leading up to the event, including the mental health of the gunman, Robert Card, citing the concerns that were brought to the attention of his Army Reserve unit and law enforcement officials in both Maine and New York.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. President Biden will go to Lewiston, Maine tomorrow to meet with survivors and victims' families. On Wall Street, stock futures have been rising the day after big gains following the Fed's decision not to raise interest rates again for now. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Good morning, WIBX 950 News Time, 8:05. I'm Andrew Derminio. Right now, 33 degrees. We're moving on up. Mostly cloudy skies, your full forecast in minutes. This update brought to you by Carl's Furniture, now hiring over-the-road tractor-trailer drivers with a $2,500 sign-on bonus, brand new equipment, and your home weekly. Contact Mike at 315-527-6111. A Cornell University student has been ordered to be held without bail after making his first appearance in federal court. Yesterday, 21-year-old Patrick Dye was in front of a judge in Syracuse after being arrested for allegedly threatening to hurt Jewish students on the Cornell campus in Ithaca. Prosecutors say that Dye visited one of the locations he threatened to attack. He faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted and is due back in court November 15th. That murder trial of Anthony Waldron is going to be on hold for a second straight day today. The judge sent jurors home yesterday after saying that an issue had come up. It was later revealed Waldron had been taken to Oswego Hospital, but no information has been released on his current condition. Waldron has been charged in connection with the 2021 death of his stepson, 17-year-old Jordan Brooks. There's no word when the trial could resume. TTM Technologies has announced a plan to boost its presence in central New York. The California company wants to spend at least $100 million to build a new manufacturing facility in DeWitt. TTM Technologies already employs hundreds of people in the region, and this new plant is expected to add roughly 400 more jobs. The hope is to break ground on this project next year, so production on things like circuit boards that'll be used by the military can begin in 2025. Applications are now being accepted for the New York State Tuition Assistance Program. Ahead of the 2024-25 academic year, financial help is available to both part- and full-time students. who attend an approved school in the Empire State. The maximum TAP award is more than $5,000, and the goal of this program is to provide support to people who may not be able to afford a college education. For more information, head to hesc.ny.gov. And if you purchased a lottery ticket, a Take 5 ticket recently at the South Utica Price Chopper, you may be a big winner. Chances are it scored you a fabulous monetary prize. The New York Lottery announced someone matched the numbers for the Take 5 evening drawing on Halloween night.
How much do they win?
$17,751.50.
So after taxes, they'll break that up and almost cut it in half.
Yeah, so there you go. You got a
Okay.
nice little...
well, that's all right.
Nice little chunk of change.
$9,000 you didn't have.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
That night's winning numbers were 02, 05, 06, 14, and 15. The two people matched all five. There were two winners, one from the Bronx and one from that Price Chopper located at 1917 Genesee Street in Utica. WIBX 950 news time, 8:08. Your weather forecast is according to Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint. As I pull it up here, I will have it for you in moments. Bear with me. Here we go.
I'm Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint at the WIBX Weather Center. Today, partly sunny, spotty snow showers to the north and west, mainly in the morning, then increasing afternoon clouds and still cool, a high near 45. Tonight, mostly cloudy, low 34. And tomorrow, partly sunny, becoming breezy, milder, pleasant for the afternoon, a high near 55. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
We've gone up a degree an hour since the start of the show this morning.
It's going to warm
33 degrees
Ooh,
now.
Nice.
Cloudy skies. It is 8:09. Sports brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts. The Texas Rangers, for the first time in franchise history, are World Series champions. It was Game 5 last night, the deciding game. Ironically, Texas defeated the Diamondbacks 5-0. A pair of young quarterbacks will clash on Thursday Night Football. You'll hear it right here on WIBX. In Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett and the Steelers battle Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans from Acrisure Stadium, formerly known as Heinz Field. Right now, the Steelers sit at a record of 4-3, while the Titans are at 3-4. The college basketball world is mourning the loss of a true legend, Bob Knight. Passed away Wednesday night at the age of 83. Knight is the sixth winningest coach in Division I men's college basketball history and led 3 Indiana teams to a national championship. He became the youngest coach at a D1 school in 1965 when he took over at Army at the age of 24. During his 29 years with the Hoosiers, Knight won a school record 661 games and reached the NCAA tournament 24 times. His first title came in 76 when Indiana went undefeated, something that has not been accomplished since. He was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame in 1991. And the Syracuse Orange basketball team concluding exhibition play last night at the JMA Wireless Dome. They defeated the College of St. Rose by a score of 86-61. Our own Syracuse correspondent Smitty was there in attendance, and he enjoyed the game from what he tells me.
Did you enjoy the game?
Yeah, there wasn't very many people there.
Well, your spirit was alive.
It's
exhibition.
Yeah, and
the night after Halloween.
Yeah,
and
it's College of St. Rose.
Yep, but the official season begins on Monday.
Okay. When they play what, New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, okay.
They won't be on TV
right.
yet. They'll be on the ACC network.
I'm going to go with a free money question here.
Nice.
I forgot Hobica's free money question last hour. And can you bring up the app? Are you able to bring it up and put it on right now?
The app, for the audio?
See,
yes, of course.
Because I keep getting complaints from people about Hobica's free money question. By the way, I'm going to tell you right now while I'm talking about this, I'm looking for caller number 4 right now at 315-736-0186. Don't answer any yet, though, David. Just let them ring.
Hold on, we got
right.
Ricky's on the line.
Ricky
here.
Z?
Yeah, Ricky
playing?
Z's playing.
All right. So we got a little commercial playing.
So
but
we
what
got,
I get the complaint about is
there's a delay.
There's a delay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to start taking calls until it shows
catches
up on the app. And
All
we'll
right.
see if we can get somebody off the app this morning to play Hobica's free money question of the day. It's going to be worth $200 this morning, and I think it's a good one.
That could mean somebody like Greeley down in Florida could win it. Or...
Could be anybody.
Since he was elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Is that how I sound? It's really delayed.
It's delayed big time, I think, by 20 seconds.
That's a little longer than 20 seconds.
How about Bob Knight passing away?
I thought that was, yeah.
He was a bit of a hothead.
I immediately grabbed a chair from a dining room table and threw it into the street. That was how I honored it.
I'm sick and tired of losing to Purdue.
This is bull crap.
Enjoy the game. Yeah, there wasn't very many people there.
And we're listening back to the show. Now, so I've got 4 lines ringing, though. I forgot we had 4 lines. I should have gone with caller number 5. I'm going to do that, okay? It's not caller 4. It'll be caller number 5. All right? We're looking at caller number 5. Free money question here.
Okay, here we go.
I forgot Hobica's free money question last hour. And can you bring up the app? Are you able to bring it up and put it on right now? Okay, this is definitely an experiment that is going south quickly. Yeah, never going to want to
Well, at least we'll give somebody on the app the opportunity to win.
We're never going to do this again, though. 315-736-0186. Don't answer any yet, though, Davey. Just let them ring. We're going to look for caller number 5, Davey. I'll tell you when you can start.
So disqualify all those radio listeners. We got to make room for the app listeners now.
I hate to do it that way, but the radio people may still be able to get in. Or YouTube is only like 10 seconds delayed. All right, Davey, begin looking for caller number 5. Ready, go. All right, there he goes. And then we'll do the contest, and then we'll take a break. I have a lot to get to. Okay. Rabbi Diddy Walks is coming up in a second.
You're welcome. WIBX.
The continued conflict in the Middle East. He's from Clinton, and he's a rabbi.
This is from our man Nagel.
Caller 3.
Daily reminder, I'm glad you're not pilots.
Hey, caller 4, okay?
Oh, yeah. Believe me,
You too,
Nagel.
Wayno.
There is a daily reminder there.
WIBX. 4, John.
Okay.
WIBX.
All right.
Good morning, WIBX.
This would be the correct caller.
Good. What's your name?
This is how Davey does it in
What
the
is
other
it?
room. I've never listened in.
Live in
Eric,
action.
you're caller number 5, so hold on. Where are you from?
Okay.
Oh, I think I know who Eric is.
Okay.
He
Hold
gets
on, we'll
in
be
a
right
lot.
with you.
You just know Eric?
Well, I know a lot of Erics.
Could be a million Erics.
Yeah, but I have a feeling it's this Eric.
Okay. And I wonder if Eric got in on the app. Hello, Eric. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. How are you today?
Good. Were you listening on the app?
No, actually, I was listening on the radio. I'm
All
at
right.
work in my truck.
Well, that's all right.
You were listening to the app in your truck.
All I can say,
no, I
though,
was listening to the radio in my truck.
all I can say is we gave the app people an opportunity. They had an opportunity to get in. That's all I wanted to do. So, all right, Eric, I think we've got one you're going to pull off here today for $200. Are you ready to go?
I'll give it a shot.
All right, here's your question. Last night was a big night. They won the most boring, lowest rated World Series in the history of the World Series. Fox was like, "Thank God for ending
It's
this."
all over.
It ended in 5 games as the Texas Rangers blew out the Diamondbacks to win the World Series. So here's your question: before they were the Texas Rangers, they were called what? Ready, go. I got it on.
It's in queue, I think.
I think you got me on this one. The Pilots, the Seattle Pilots.
Did you say the Pilots?
I said Seattle Pilots.
The Seattle Pilots. I've never heard of the Seattle Pilots before. That's awesome.
That's a good guess.
The answer is,
You got me.
David, do you know the answer to this one?
No.
It was in 1971, Major League Baseball moved the Washington Senators to Arlington, Texas. Now Washington has a team, right?
The
That was
Nationals.
where all the talk was. They finally got their team back. But it was the Washington Senators. They became the Texas Rangers. So, all right. Well, listen, Eric, we're gonna give you the Utica All-in-One Food and Fun card. Good at Aquavino Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, Taylor and the Cook, any of the concession stands at Adirondack Bank Center or Nexus. And by the way, Taylor and the Cook with a new opening coming soon at their new location next to the train station. So stand by. We're going to mail that to you, Eric, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Eric. Have a great day. He was given a lot of extra time today to pull that off.
I don't know why.
Eric, what's the last name?
I don't know what's going on. Nothing's working right here today.
We're keeping ourselves on our toes
it's
here.
Probably you, Andrew. It's probably all you. The Texas Rangers in 1971 debuted as the Texas Rangers. Prior to that, they were the Washington Senators in Washington, D.C. All right, we've got a break. Coming up, we'll speak with Rabbi Diddy Walks. His take on everything that's going on in the world currently, the support for Israel that is coming from the United States. However, the controversy that comes with that has many in a very uneasy spot, especially along college campuses around the country. We'll speak with him coming up next to WIBX.
Who doesn't love a great deal? We all do, and that's why Bremer's Wine and Liquor has carefully selected 8 very special wines and priced them under $8. Sure, we already offer hundreds of wines for less than $8, but these 8 wines are truly remarkable, handpicked by our experts. You'll be amazed by the quality you're getting for such a low price, including award winners like Wine Spectator Best Values and wines rated 90 points or higher by Wine Enthusiast. Reds, whites, rosés, whatever you're into, you'll find it. And we're constantly updating our 8 under 8 selection to help you discover more new wines for less money. All of our 8 under 8 are wines you'll love and want to share with friends. They're all hand-selected, deeply discounted, and they drink like you paid a lot more. Hey, you've got good taste, and so do we, for under $8. Adventure into great new wines with our 8 wines under $8 at Bremer's Wine and Liquor on Commercial Drive in New Hartford.
This election, vote Mayor Jackie Izzo for her years of experience in business, economic development victories, and management, resulting in no tax increase for 7 straight years. Or vote for someone with absolutely no business or management experience just for the sake of change. Will Jeff Flanagan be able to handle the millions of dollars in active projects that Jackie's managing right now? This is critical and the wrong time to gamble on Rome's future. On Election Day, vote Row C. Re-elect Mayor Jackie Izzo.
As a business person, I saw Rome stalling, ran on a platform of a new beginning where we needed to concentrate on economic development, housing, jobs. And I think we've delivered on all of those. But not only that, we've done so much more. And so the new beginning really doesn't have an end. This has been the best experience of my life and the most humbling experience to work for the taxpayers of the city of Rome. And I hope that you will give me that opportunity to continue our work with your vote.
Paid for by friends of Jackie Izzo.
WIBX and Keeler present the final stop of the Laughs and Liberty Tour at Utica Stanley Theater on Veterans Day. Fox's Jimmy Fallon and former MTV VJ Kennedy on one stage, headlining for the last time Saturday, November 11th. Jimmy Fallon, national talk show host from the Fox News Channel, along with Fox contributor Kennedy. You'll hear stories from behind the scenes at Fox, as well as never-before-told stories from MTV, plus the amazing comedy of Jimmy Fallon. Featured afternoons on Fox Across America, Monday through Friday on WIBX 950. Get tickets online at Ticketmaster.com or at the Stanley box office. Additional VIP meet and greet tickets are also on sale now. Ask about purchasing Heroes tickets for veterans at the Stanley box office at 315-724-4000. Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy, the grand finale of the Laughs and Liberty Tour. Sponsored by River Hills Properties, Keeler in the Morning, and WIBX 950. Premium seats have just been released for this event. Visit Ticketmaster.com right now.
Hi, this is Tom Cole from Gates Cole Insurance with exciting news. We're expanding with a couple of new offices in our area. One new location is Tall Pines Insurance in Boonville. They're another independent insurance agency that takes pride in making customers happy. That fits our culture at Gates Cole perfectly. Here's Greg Lee from the newest Gates Cole location, Tall Pines Insurance in Boonville.
The reason why I got into insurance was I wanted to allow my father the opportunity to retire and give back to my community. You know, we had the Boonville fire that wiped out a large area down here for us a few years ago, and so we showed up at the fire. You know, we were right there, ground zero, with our insureds, who made sure that they were taken care of quickly. You know, we were able to get people the money that they needed to cover their expenses from that loss.
For insurance for your home, auto, business, and just about everything else, trust your local independent insurance agency, Gates Cole Insurance, proudly representing Finger Lakes Fire and Casualty Company of Trumansburg, New York.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. Utica is a city with a rich history and a young, growing population. We need to keep it young by investing in our neighborhoods, our local businesses, our arts, and entertainment. Let's celebrate the past and build a city for the future. Please Vote for me in this November's election. Early voting runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. My opponent says he's prepared to lead the city because he's been council president. But the president doesn't lead, he simply moderates meetings. He's never had to sponsor legislation, cast a tough vote, or take a tough position. I've done all of this. I created the law that restored term limits. I'm ready to lead. Let's make history together. Please, vote for me in this November's election.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
Home and Hospital Medical Supply in the New Hartford Shopping Center proudly carries a wide selection of home medical equipment. Lift chairs to buy or rent, canes, crutches, walkers, powered scooters, braces, foot care products, and so much more. And if for some reason they don't carry the product you need, they'll custom order it at no extra charge. Mary and her experienced team are there to assist you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or call them 315-724-6767 and online at hnhmedicalny.com. Home and Hospital Medical Supplies, we make life easier.
Hey, I want to tell you, winter, boy, it was here this morning. It felt like it with the dusting of snow.
Ugh.
Is your home ready? Are your windows drafty? Are your windows ready? Are they hard to open or stuck? Give New York Sash a call to help make your home more energy efficient. Right now is the New York Sash pre-winter sale. To help you get ready, New York Sash brand windows are $300 off and patio doors $600 off. Wow. $300 off every window. Plus, take advantage of federal agency that's federal energy tax credits. You can get another $600 back from the government. There's also some great financing opportunities like no money down, no payments, no interest for a whole year, custom-made windows, which we swear by in our home from New York Sash, along with patio doors to withstand upstate New York weather, installed and really installed in such an amazing way by a group of people who are trained and certified from New York Sash, and they take care of your property. Take advantage of the New York Sash pre-winter window sale. Stop into the showroom and start the process online at newyorksash.com. Financing available only with approved credit.
First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX.
All right, I want to go to, let me do this first just quickly and tell you that if you want to buy Heroes tickets for Jimmy Fallon, you can still do so by calling the box office. This is a program that was set up by River Hills Properties and Bill and Robin Monjo, and all you have to do is call them up at the box office at 315-724-4000 and say, I'd like Heroes tickets. These are a pair of tickets for next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, the Laughs and Liberty Tour with Jimmy Fallon and Kennedy. The Heroes tickets will go to our local veterans group, which will distribute those tickets. Just call 315-724-4000, the box office at the Stanley, and tell them you want to buy Heroes tickets from River Hills Properties. Rabbi Diddy Walks is a rabbi in the Clinton area. While not associated with Hamilton College, does work with many students over there. And with what's going on around the world right now, things are pretty scary. Rabbi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks so much for coming on. So where are we right now? I mean, we've gone through, obviously, the difficulties that we're looking at is the initial attack was horrific. And Netanyahu's response is strong and firm, and those visuals are very difficult. The problem is Hamas seems to be placing their military in places right next to civilians. So, and then when there are civilian deaths, they're showing those pictures, trying to create a negative story for Israel. It has the world on its on the edge of its seat. College campuses, as you know, are like a timber box right now. What do you know, Rabbi?
So, I mean, you gave a really good summary, in my opinion. That is the situation, and one cannot forget what happened on October 7th. The details are still coming out. The horrific details that I'm not going to say on your show because I don't know what you are comfortable with me sharing or
Yeah.
not, but I urge your listeners who are doubtful to look online and see credible sources on what actually took place on that day. And like I said, things are still coming out. It was the most barbaric thing that one could imagine for the Jewish people, and it was an anti-Jewish attack, not just an anti-Israel attack. That is their words, the Hamas's words, not mine. And so it's still the trauma is going to be beyond. This is not the Israelis are still mourning, and so the double, like you said, the double trauma of both going through what they're going through. And let's not forget, the attack is not over. There are still over 200, and now they say 240 is their latest number, hostages, many of them children, babies, who are still being held captive. So there is this is an ongoing attack. So long as you're holding on to
You're absolutely right.
captives, you are an attacker.
I want to bring if I could bring up one story is the young. She looked like she was probably 22 years old, something in that. She was at that concert when the attack occurred. A beautiful young girl with a bright future ahead of her. She was, and we have video of her being taken, her being put into a vehicle and driven off. We have now learned her fate. She was killed, but she not only was she killed, she was beheaded. You're talking when you use the word barbaric. There's no doubt. I don't know of another word that could be used.
Right. I mean, again, that is,
and that's one story.
An example of the barbarism, and there were things that would really make people's stomachs churn for a lot. Like, you won't be able to eat for a while because when you hear what they did, killing people, targeting civilians itself is, aside for a war crime and all the technical terms, any normal thinking and person with a beating heart would cringe and be unable to contain themselves. The way in which they went about it was with a sense of just enjoyment at the pure, again, murder of innocent civilians, children, babies. I mean, it's just beyond.
Yeah.
And one has to also realize, outside of Israel, it's very hard for people in a big country like America to realize this. 9/11 was the greatest tragedy or terrorist attack in America, and I was a kid in Australia at the time, but I do remember it very vividly, and the world came together, which they should have, and the response, at least initially, the response from the world and the desire to root out the evil that could do such a thing was, commendable. Now, if you imagine in Israel, a country which is way smaller, the 1,300, now we have 1,400 that have been killed, that is about, they say that would be equivalent in America, if you run the numbers, to 40,000 people dying in 9/11. So this is a huge thing in Israel. This is this is something that will be remembered, obviously be remembered, but it is touching every segment of society. And the other day there was a captive, one of the released through the Israeli army in Gaza, and she was brought home. And there were celebrations in her house. My sister sent me a video of the celebration, and it's next door to her mother-in-law's house in the south of Israel in Kiryat Gat. And so just to give you a sense, this is, everyone knows somebody who was either there or somebody who knows somebody or someone related to. It's a small country, and the ties run deep, and it's really causing a reaction, strong reaction from everyone. It's like everyone was a relative to someone in 9/11. That's what it's the equivalent to.
Yeah.
Everyone knows someone personally. And so that cannot be forgotten in the whole conversation. The tragic and really sad deaths of innocent civilians in Gaza is horrific. And I am the first one to say that. And when I see images, pictures, it really, really breaks my heart. Unlike many in Gaza and many other places, people who claim to not be terrorists, celebrating the death and murder and decapitation and all of that and rape of people in Israel on October 7th that was celebrated by people around the world, including in America, I have not found large swaths of the pro-Israel community or Israelis celebrating the death of the people in Gaza. We do not. That does not bring me any
you're right.
joy. It makes me
Right.
sad. And I 100% square the blame lays squarely at the feet of of Hamas that continues to hold its people hostage. It doesn't only hold 200 and something Israelis, some Americans, 20-something Americans hostage. It holds its entire people hostage. So when Israel has to bomb, and it's acting actually quite restrained. When you hear about the density in Gaza, I hope they can keep the numbers down, but they have to. They're trying to shoot very specific places, and the places are so densely populated. They also give warning. Yesterday, when you had or 2 days ago, the refugee camp was hit. The Israeli military.
Oh, I'm losing you. I'm losing you there. Yeah.
Sorry. Go on.
Well, I lost you for a second. I do want to say the other part of this I think that we have to understand is Egypt is reporting that that Hamas is preventing these people, these civilians, from leaving these areas.
Yeah.
They are the sad part of this is it's like a stalemate of the brain. You're trying to think about how do you solve this problem? How do you rid them of the world, which needs to be done, we're talking about Hamas, and not injure the Palestinians when the Palestinians are placed in a position that many of these people, they're not allowed to leave. They are there to be serving as a martyr. The Hamas wants them to be killed so that they can show these photos to the rest of the world and create more hatred towards Jews and towards Israel. It is the great conundrum of the world today. And I want to read one more comment that I have here. This is Mike, who said, I think if you think about it, what Hamas did in some respects is worse than the Nazis. When the Nazis engaged in the Holocaust, they tried to cover it up from the world. Hamas, on the other hand, is in fact bragging about it, sharing videos and photos of what they did online. It almost seems worse than what the Nazis were doing.
I will tell you, many Holocaust survivors have shared similar sentiments. And again, the trauma that this brings up, this is more like the pogroms of old. The pogroms, which are these, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but Jews throughout history, definitely in the last few hundred years in Europe, well before the Holocaust, were accustomed to regular mob attacks and where there would be looting, murder, rape, etc. of their villages. It was on a much smaller scale just because people lived in smaller areas. But if you lived in a small town and the entire town was wiped out, that was your mini Holocaust. And that's essentially what would happen repeatedly. And it was in these kinds of vicious attacks. But even then, the reports, the barbarism with which they acted, I have never read in any of the books and any of the stories that I had grown up with learning about. I'm sure there was stuff like that went on, but this took it to a whole new level. And the way, as you said, taking videos and really live streaming, it wasn't a capability before, so we don't know if the Nazis would have done it.
That's a good point.
You're right. They did hide a lot of their stuff, so it is. I would agree with you, and I think the reason why I'm bringing all of this up before getting to the college campuses and the rise in anti-Semitism. You are. I don't have to argue with you because it sounds like you and I are agreeing.
We're on the same
the way which I think is correct. But we can have disagreements on exactly what Israel should or shouldn't do. But at the end of the day, Israel has to respond. No normal thinking person who cares about their family would not react to the neighbor next door, even if it means that reacting to the crazy neighbor may hurt their children, innocent children, because your children are going to continue. Remember, there are still rockets falling now in Israel from Gaza. I mean, these people want to ceasefire. I mean, like literally right while we're talking, they're still dropping rockets, which is amazing. So, but where it goes to college campuses, where there's this false sense of I think the biggest problem is that people look at the situation and they're like, well, these people, they must have some credible, grievances that we need to contend with. And that's the first problem. When you put on Hamas, when you project some Western way of thinking, where there must be some rationale, where they must not be suicidal, even though in their words, they were on TV, it's all available to the public. One of the leaders of Hamas is saying, no, we're not responsible for our civilians. That's the UN and the Israeli government and the PA. We're not actually responsible for our civilians, so we're not going to protect them. So they're admitting their main objective is to destroy Israel and to kill all Jews. And they actually acted upon that. And I think an important quote from Elie Wiesel is attributed to him. I'm pretty sure he said it. And he said, the greatest lesson of the Holocaust is to believe the threats of our enemies more than we believe and trust the promises of our friends.
Yeah.
And I think what Israel lives by, people don't realize that. America has been amazing, and I commend President Biden and the government in America, the Congress, for standing steadfast with Israel at this time. And it's not so easy because much of the world is...
Well, it is, you're right.
Israel...
Yep.
No, but Israel still shouldn't take... It should take its threats of its enemies still more seriously than the promises of its friends, because at the end of the day, we Jews know too long in history that we can't rely on anybody. And on college campuses, you're seeing this equivocation, but there must be a bigger story. And you ask a student, really, like on 9/11, did you start doing research to find out why did they do this? Maybe they had a point. No. These were civilians. These were innocent people. There is no excuse. And more often than not, I find that when discussing when I'm discussing with people who are critical of the whole situation, and especially Israel's response, usually when I boil down to it, they don't believe Israel should exist and that Jews have a right to that land.
Right. Well, and you are, listen, we can debate, and there should be a debate about the way to create the proper formula for Palestinians and Jews to coexist in Gaza and in Israel, although it does happen in Israel, by the way. There are plenty of Palestinians
literally going to interrupt you
in Israel.
You to it. Very good. It happens in Israel. I've seen it many times. 20% of the population is Arab.
Yep. So, however, there can be a conversation at some point about the life that those people live in Gaza, and could it be better? Would it improve the situation and relations? That can be a conversation. But while you're murdering innocent people, holding hostages, beheading people, this is not the time for that. And that, unfortunately, takes priority. I'm sure you can explain what I'm trying to say much better.
No, I think you said it 100%. I would say, I would even counter that and say, you know what, we can talk about getting to a better place even now, at least some of us, those who are not literally picking up the pieces and fighting to get rid of Hamas. But the biggest problem for peace is that I don't know the numbers actually, but many people, and I speak to people on college campuses, who don't believe that Israel even should exist. So when they say from the river to the sea, they mean the destruction of Israel. And then they'll tell you, well, that's not genocide because we don't plan on killing all the Jews. Well, again, Jews have a history, and we believe what our enemies say. Hamas calls for the murder of all Jews. Mahmoud Abbas, who's the moderate in this story, has said that no Jews would live in a future Palestinian state. Where are all these Jews going? Whether you believe Israel should have not have been established, Jews live there. My ancestors, my mother's family left Yemen because they were chased out by anti-Semites in Yemen. 800,000, a roughly equal amount of the amount of Palestinians who lived in Israel who then left around 1948. Some were expelled, some left on their own volition, different reasons. An equal number of that were expelled or made very uncomfortable or faced anti-Semitic pogroms in Arab countries. Nobody talks about that. And so that's why my ancestors came to Israel. Where should they go exactly? Back to Europe, because everybody says they're a bunch of white Jews. So there's a lot of nuance to the story, but one thing there's no nuance to is what they did on October 7th is pure and utter evil, debauchery. These people are, I wouldn't even call them animals because I don't want to be offensive to animals. Animals are wonderful. But these people, no.
Well, there is no moral equivalence, and I think that has got to be stressed here. In this, it's like, well, they're simply they're attacking because they're trying to better their situation. There is no way we can justify this type of barbaric behavior. It just can't happen in a civilized world. I wanted to ask you just quickly your thoughts on what we witnessed in Russia when the planes were arriving and a mob of anti-Semites were looking to get to the airplanes and take Jews off the airplane, happening in Russia at an airport. What's your take on that?
I'm going to be very honest with you. I know I spoke very strongly in these last few minutes with you and very confidently, but as a Jew, and I am not the only one who says this, many Jews are feeling unsafe now. When you see videos of that, when you see videos close to home, you see in Times Square, there were people holding up Palestinians, holding up swastikas. There is in Australia, where I come from, there were people, they got arrested. This wasn't reported in America so much. There were cars of pro-Palestinian supporters looking for a Jew to lynch. That's what they were saying. They got arrested. So this is in Melbourne, Australia. I mean, this is like, so it is scary, and we are aware that there are people, even in Utica, there are religious leaders who have equivocated and explained why this is okay. And I know who these people are, and it is it is scary, because when you start explaining how this could, in some system, make sense, you are immediately opening the door for people who want to engage in such acts, and it becomes justified, it becomes okay, and everyone's a target. A Jew in Australia, a Jew in Russia, a Jew everywhere becomes a target, and it's not just words, it's deeds. What you saw in Cornell, where a kid threatened, he threatened to do exactly what they did on October 7th. He didn't do it, but there could have been someone who would have done it. He could have done it. I don't know him. And so we have to be very careful with our words.
Just his actions alone may very well inspire someone else. That's the scary part of this.
Correct.
Rabbi, I'd like to have you back again next week to get another update if we can. And I think hearing your take on this is important at this time, because I just had a conversation with someone about this as we were talking politics. And you just wish that the response from Israel, the response from Netanyahu could have been quick, and because the longer this goes on, the more they are going to try to make people forget about what happened on the initial attack and put the focus on the carnage that occurs in this war. And that's just not how it's going to work. It's not how it was designed to work, by the way. Hamas knows exactly knew exactly what was going to happen, and I can't imagine is surprised by any means. But having you come back and remind us of these things, I think is very important.
I would be happy to do so, because I think that is very, very important. It is going to be a long war, according to what Israel understands, especially if it doesn't want to carpet bomb, which people claim it's doing. It doesn't want to do that. It wants to surgically remove the terrorists. And so that is going to take some time.
Yeah.
And my hope is that we can do it with as few casualties as possible. But people do not forget, Israel's resolve is so strong. This is not a political issue in Israel. Israel was going through political turmoil over the summer until recently. And now Israel is so united. You have the secular, the religious, the left, the right. Everyone's on the same page, because this is about survival. This is existential. Yeah. People have to realize that. Thank you so much for giving voice to this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rabbi.
All right,
we'll
Rabbi.
talk again. Thanks so much. Rabbi Diddy Watts.
Bye-bye.
Again, not affiliated with Hamilton College. However, deals with many students in that area, not just in college, but he's come on this program for several years. All right, I got a break, and we'll come back. Sheriff Mashel coming right in. Tucker, Backyard Pools and Spas. Today's a perfect day. It's cold out. Even tonight, you'll be in the 40s tonight. It's not going to be as cold. You go out and you go on that deck or in your backyard or in a room in your home and hop in that hot tub.
Ooh, baby.
You're in paradise.
Yep.
And at Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas, when you walk in to their brand new showroom and you see Tommy standing there, you say to yourself, wow, I'm in paradise. Well, you might not say that, but you see hot tubs throughout the showroom. They bring the fun to your backyard, wintertime and summertime. Check out the hot tubs and spas right now, and the financing availability at Tucker Backyard Pools and Spas. Seneca Turnpike, just west of Big Apple Music.
Warner Sales and Service, building relationships, building trust.
Contractors and landscapers, rent your way to greater profits with Bobcat equipment from Warner Sales and Service. From heavy work right down to the fussy stuff, Bobcat loaders, excavators, and a wide variety of attachments will handle all the tough jobs like lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, as well as the more precise applications, grading and leveling. You'll be able to take on more jobs and get your current projects done with Warner Sales and Service. Whether it's the tough lifting and digging or the more precise work with attachments, you name it. Warner Sales and Service has the Bobcat rentals to make sure your projects get done. Tough jobs demand tough equipment. So when you have a tough job, rent a Bobcat machine. Stop in today at Warner Sales and Service, just off Route 365 between Rome and Verona, and at warnerss.com.
Warner's, where quality still counts. At Warner's.
After 8 years leading as council president, Mike Alimi has the experience and knowledge to provide new leadership for our city. Raised in our schools, endlessly connected to our people, Mike Alimi is a contributor rooted in family, a proven leader, a professional dedicated to our community, grounded by values, driven by priorities rooted in your safety and your security. Mike Alimi is committed to the future of Utica. On November 7th, vote Mike Alimi for mayor.
Paid for by Mike for mayor.
Oh, hi, Doctor. Finally.
What brings you in today?
It's anxiety, Doc. I can't even watch the news. We're treating illegal immigrants like honored guests. Criminals run wild. The economy's just nauseating. And the corrupt politicians, they couldn't care less.
I see. Tell me, have you tried voting on the Conservative Party line?
The Conservative Party?
Correct. I find that when people get sick of talk and excuses, they do much better voting Conservative.
Huh, how's it work?
The Conservative Party only backs candidates who are tough on illegal immigration and who defend the law-abiding, not the criminals. So your vote actually accomplishes something on the Conservative Party line.
Wow. Any side effects?
Well, if you're ever around AOC or other socialists, don't tell them you vote Conservative. It could cause seizures.
This election, look for the Conservative Party line. Row C on your ballot. Vote Conservative. It's the cure for what ails New York. Paid for by the State Conservative Campaign Committee.
Hey, River Hills Properties is the fastest growing real estate company in Central New York. I have to say 15 years ago or so. Nobody even knew their name. And today they are the #1 independent real estate agency in the world. Well, in the area, anyway, in Central New York and upstate New York. Now, Andrew, that's the independent agencies without a big chain. The chains, River Hills is #2. Which is pretty impressive. So all this, 15 years ago, no one knew their name. There was one agent. It was Robin. Today you have how many agents?
Over 30.
All right. 30 and a half. Andrew counts as a half. That's not true. He's very successful. Does a great job. If you're looking to sell your home, you know you're getting the service, the extra service, all of the things they do for you. And you know that every time your house is shown, your listing agent will physically be there to make sure the lights are on, the door is open, you're putting your best foot forward. Why wouldn't you list with River Hills in Barnaville, Little Falls, and Utica? With offices, but servicing all of upstate New York, River Hills Properties, LLC.com. Nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. I believe in Utica. Our city is growing. People are coming here to invest in our future. People are coming home to where they grew up to raise their own families. Let's create a safe, livable, and beautiful city for all of us. Please, vote for me in this November's election. Early voting runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
I'm Celeste Friend. I'm running for mayor of Utica. I run big, people-powered campaigns, and that is how I will govern. I'll engage all of us in the choices that determine the future of our city. For a government that is transparent and a mayor who knows how to communicate, please vote for me in this November's election. Early voting runs through November 5th. Election Day is November 7th.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Celeste Friend.
Catch Keeler on the go. Download the free WIBX 950 app today. Now, back to Keeler on WIBX.
All right, I have a lot to get to here. And quickly, Wayne, I don't have much time, but I'm sorry. Thank you for waiting. What do you have, Wayne? Hey, Wayne. Oh, is he on that line or no? He's over here? Is that you, Wayne?
Yeah, I'm not like liberal Lou. I'll get to the point and you'll be done with me. But the park that they put in over there at Proctor Park by Addison Miller, or not Addison Miller, Buckley,
Yes.
the dog park.
Yes.
Is there any truth that they're going to start charging people to bring their dogs to that thing? Like you're going to have to pay like a price down at City Hall and bring proof of your vaccinations, and then you go over there and they're going to charge you like $40 for a card to swipe to go let your dog run?
My understanding is that I don't know about the charges, but at least there's signs on the North Utica Dog Park where we take our dog. You have to license the dog. You have to register it with the city, and so I'm sure there's
that's all
fees
common sense. I mean, are they going to charge you
do me a favor,
money to
Wayne,
go and use it?
Can you hit us with that tomorrow morning? I'll find out, and we'll get into it tomorrow morning, all right?
Get your boy Beatrice in there. And you know what? That guy's got a cool accent, the one you talked to just now.
Rabbi
the one
Diddy
you
Watts,
just got.
yeah.
Yes, that's
He's
a cool accent.
he's a rabbi, and he's from Australia, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Very
okay.
soothing accent. Later, guys.
Thank you, Wayne. In studio right now, I have John Decker coming up. Sheriff, I apologize. I am so far behind.
That's okay.
I know we got to hit hard.
Yes, sir.
You have a deadline coming up.
Friday's the deadline for the application to sign up for the questionnaire. It's no longer a civil service application for the questionnaire for Oneida County Sheriff's Office Corrections Officer. And I'm going to default to Lou Roman, who I have with me here today, is the president of the Corrections Officers Union. He'll throw some numbers as far as salaries go and whatnot. So
if you're looking for a job, not a job, a career, there's opportunity here.
There's definitely an opportunity here. And, the starting salary, we're looking at 2024 numbers. On the announcement, it's the 2023 numbers, but we're looking at 24. So to start, we're going to be at $46,711, and right after 6 months for our academy, it's going to be $51,901.
Wow.
So you're looking at $24 an hour.
Yeah,
as
right off the bat.
Right off the bat, it's a great starting salary. 14 paid holidays, 4 personal days, 18 total. Health insurance, people don't I think talk about it enough. So if you have a family, and
many places aren't even offering health insurance today.
Our plan right now, the family plan, is worth about $40,000.
Wow.
So, you're looking at, it's a $100,000 job.
Yeah.
So I think that, coming into a career, like you mentioned, and having the ability to grow with the career and being there for 25 years, it's huge.
It's a big deal. All right, deadline is tomorrow.
It's Friday, yes, tomorrow.
At 2 p.m., 4 p.m.?
About end of business.
End of business
Go
day,
on our
okay.
website, NoidaCountySheriff.us, or go to the county's website, ocgov.net. There'll be a link there you fill out. And, again, it's no longer a test. It's a questionnaire that you'll get at the first part of December. And just for signing up, you basically get an automatic 70 passing grade. And then any life experiences you have, that's what the questionnaire is about. Education, job experience, military experience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That adds to your base score of 70. That's how the new test, I call it testing, but it's a questionnaire process.
You guys around when I was in
Tell
college?
me about it.
What is
about
going
it.
on here?
Just filling out the application, you get a 70.
You got to make sure the college kids are signing up for this because there's so many issues with finding a job after college. And this is a great career.
And for kids coming out of high school, we can hire at 18.
You can hire at 18.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
Yes.
Again, go to the website.
ocgov.net or OneidaCountySheriff.us.
I'm overbooked. You're always welcome, and
Awesome.
I apologize
Thank you very
greatly.
much. Not a problem. Thank you.
The sheriff knows he can call, and he just gets in.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's how it
No
works.
questions asked.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. John Decker, Great TV. John, good morning. And it's a crazy world out there. There's so much going on. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Bill. So much going on. The president, he is traveling tomorrow. He's going up to Maine in the aftermath of that mass shooting that happened in Lewiston, Maine, just a few weeks ago. The president and the first lady will be there. Those are tough trips. Those are tough trips to take for anybody.
Yeah.
I've been on those trips with President Obama down to South Carolina after that mass shooting at the church in Charleston. I've been with President Trump after the mass shooting at that synagogue in Pittsburgh. They're just tough trips, and that's on the president's agenda for tomorrow.
I'd like to talk about the Trump trial, where the Trump kids are now in the process of testifying. What's your take on all of it?
Well, my take on it is the following. It's important to keep in mind who the defendants are in this case. It's Donald Trump, it's Eric Trump, it's Don Jr., and it's the Trump Organization. And I think the last defendant I mentioned is the one that really is at risk here. You know, the testimony yesterday by Don Jr. did not help out the Trump Organization in any way. The Trump Organization is being charged also with financial fraud, and the penalty could be a huge fine, $250 million. That's what the state attorney general is seeking, and also a prohibition in terms of doing business in the state of New York. And, you know, Don Jr.'s testimony, although it may have absolved him personally, it did not absolve the Trump Organization. And I think that's the real problem for them as this trial proceeds. We'll likely hear from Eric Trump by the end of this week, tomorrow perhaps, and Ivanka Trump could testify if she wins her appeal. She will not testify. If she loses her appeal, she'll testify next week.
An unfair judge, an unfair prosecutor. This is all political. Stay away from my children. A fair argument from the former president?
Well, look, I mean, it's the legal system. And, you know, it was a determination by the judge that there was financial fraud that was committed on the part of the Trump Organization. This is just the penalty phase of this trial.
Right.
And, you know, look, I would not criticize the judge that holds the future of my company in his hands, essentially. You know, that's what Donald Trump's doing. And, you know, it's the judge alone that will determine what the penalty for the Trump Organization is going to be.
And then at the same time, staying with Trump, the judge in one of his cases is basically sided with him, saying there's no way his defense attorneys can prepare for this case and this case, calling for a delay.
Well, that's right. You're talking about Judge Eileen Cannon. She's the judge, a federal judge, presiding over that classified documents case in Fort Pierce, Florida. She indicated yesterday that she is likely to defer to the Trump lawyers' request to delay that trial that had been set for late May. I think the only trial that's going to take place next year, and it will take place on time, is the one here in Washington, D.C. That's scheduled for March the 4th, the day before Super Tuesday. I'll be in that courtroom covering that trial. I think does pose a lot of risk to the former president, especially when you consider all these plea deals that are occurring right now with individuals who used to work as lawyers for Donald Trump.
What about the insurrection case? The case saying that it would disqualify Trump to actually run based on a law dating back to the Civil War.
Yeah, we're talking about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. It was enacted after the Civil War. It would disqualify from public office those who swore to defend the Constitution and then engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S., and that's the crux of the case in Colorado and also in Minnesota. They're considering claims that this constitutional provision prevents Trump from holding office once again. I think this case is premature in two ways. One, Donald Trump has not been convicted of anything yet. There are criminal trials that will take place, but he's not been convicted of anything. And the other one is he's not been charged with insurrection.
Right.
So that was another reason why I think that these cases won't get anywhere. And Donald Trump, if he's the nominee, he will be on the ballot in every state that he's running, all 50 states and the District of Columbia.
As always, John, we appreciate your time. We'll do it again next week. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Bill.
All right.
You too. Bye-bye.
John Decker is the chief White House correspondent for Gray TV. I want to tell you, Brank Construction, if you're in need, Andrew, you're looking in the house you're trying to sell has bad sidewalks.
Oh, yeah.
Brank Construction can take care of it for you. 315-894-3481, Rocco and David Brank. Anything masonry, anything concrete, they have you covered. And then one more, if you're getting ready for the holidays, and believe it or not, we're talking about Thanksgiving already, Daylight Donuts has the most delicious, amazing snowflake rolls.
Yeah, they do.
They will melt in your mouth, the perfect thing to bring to your Thanksgiving dinner. But here's the deal. You buy them by the dozen, and right at Daylight Donuts, it's a family recipe from Chuck. You have to call and put your name on the list. 315-724-7103.
Hi, I'm Mike Galimi. I'm running for mayor. Over the last year, I've personally walked your neighborhoods and listened to you. I've built a resume of integrity and trust, committed to leading an open government as council president. Now it's time for a new style of leadership. I have the experience, knowledge, and plan to move this city forward as mayor. Utica has a choice to make. Professionalism over inexperience, responsibility over uncertainty, honesty over corruption. Here's the thing. I value facts, trust, and the concerns of the people above all else. On November 7th, vote Mike Galimi for mayor. Paid for by Mike for Mayor.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
When you want something done right, you need experience. When you want something done honestly, you need integrity. Judge John Gannon has